My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 376. The truth is important. Ward 2. When Adam walked to the door, he heard a suppressed sob. He looked inside through the glass window above the door. Sure enough, he saw Bill with his head buried in the pillow, shaking and sobbing. Adam sighed in his heart. He stood outside for more than 10 minutes, waiting for Bill to stop crying. Adam pushed the door open and went in. Dr. Duncan. Bill wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and smiled. Are you okay? Adam said softly. You just had surgery. You need to rest well and be careful not to damage the wound. Thank you, doctor. I know. Bill smiled. Do you need to find Dr. Burke? Adam hesitated. Maybe you need to have a good talk with him? Preston has already talked to me. Bill forced a smile. I'm fine. I just need time to recover, just like this wound. As he said that, he touched the wound that was cut and sutured during the operation. If you need anything, ask the nurse to call me. Adam nodded, gave instructions, and prepared to leave. But when he reached the door, he turned back. What's wrong, Dr. Duncan? Bill looked at Adam. There are some things I shouldn't have said. Adam stood in front of the bed and pondered, but I still want to advise you to think more open-mindedly. The truth is sometimes really important. He was Bill's attending physician, so he naturally didn't want Bill to break his wound because of being too sad. At that time, no matter what the specific reason was, he would be a little derelict in his duty. Therefore, even if he didn't want to intervene in the patient's private affairs. But in order to complete this case as perfectly as possible, he also planned to make an exception and give Bill some psychological counseling. Thank you, Dr. Duncan. Bill was stunned for a moment, then smiled. I understand. Preston is not only my good buddy, but also my doctor. Telling me the truth is for my own good. Are you interested in listening to my true story? Adam simply sat down. Of course. Bill cooperated very well. Even though he was in pain at the moment, he didn't lose his temper with others. He was a very educated person. This is also one of the important reasons why Adam was willing to meddle. There was a young couple who were just 20 years old. The husband was white and the wife was African American. They were childhood sweethearts. But because the husband's father strongly opposed it and beat and scolded him at every turn, they ran away from home at a very young age, stayed together, and got married early. Adam said slowly, they should love each other very much. Bill murmured, yes. Adam nodded. They love each other very much, the kind that can sacrifice their lives for each other. Once they went to a restaurant for dinner and unfortunately encountered a robber. The robber not only wanted to rob money, but also took a fancy to the young wife. Even though he was pointed at his head and saw the robber trying to molest the young wife, the husband dared to stand up, but was dissuaded by his wife. Then what? Bill asked. Question mark, comma. But when the student with the broken leg saw this, he was shocked. After asking for clarification, he immediately shouted, I'm fine. Don't call an ambulance. Because an ambulance trip would cost $1,000. Not to mention the student with a broken leg whose family is poor. Even the average middle-class family would be very cautious and would never call an ambulance if they could. Similarly, there are fire trucks. Each one costs $700, and usually more than two are dispatched together. So sometimes it happens that when a house catches fire and a fire truck comes, the homeowner would rather watch the fire with the firefighters than let the fire truck put it out. There is no other way. The house is gone if it burns down, but after the fire is put out, the homeowner cannot afford the expensive firefighting fee, so just let it burn down. When they arrived at the hospital, they could not find out at first what disease the young wife had. Adam returned to the main topic of the story. The young wife was once critically ill. In order to find out what disease his wife had, her husband, who had the same symptoms but a milder condition, voluntarily gave up treatment and allowed his condition to worsen. He endured extreme pain and allowed the doctor to perform a brain biopsy on him and let the doctor try some drugs, just to increase a glimmer of hope of saving his wife. This is true love. Bill was deeply shocked. Yes, Adam nodded. The husband is true love. With his efforts, the doctor finally found the cause of the disease before the young wife died. It turned out that she had hereditary angioedema, a very rare genetic disease, but fortunately it is treatable. That's good. That's not right. Bill first breathed a sigh of relief, then frowned. You said before that the husband also had the same symptoms, but isn't this a rare genetic disease? Could it be that? Remember what I said at the beginning. The husband's father strongly opposed them being together, so that they finally ran away from home? Adam said. When the hospital contacted him, they found that he had committed suicide. But one of them is white and the other is African, Bill murmured. African mixed race? The young wife is mixed race. White, the same blonde and blue eyes as the husband. Adam said expressionlessly. They are half-siblings. The husband's father cheated on the wife's mother next door, but he never told them. Bill was shocked. He finally understood Adam's intention of telling this true story. What happened next? Later, love was gone, only endless pain. Adam sighed. The wife didn't want to see her husband's face again because she felt extremely disgusted. The husband was worried that if they had a child, it would be deformed and painful. With the relationship between them, even if they finally separated, this pain would last a lifetime. So the truth is sometimes really important, and blood must not be confused. I see, Bill murmured. You're right. The truth is indeed important. Adam observed carefully and saw that he was shocked, but not much melancholy. He was deeply relieved and did not tell the other story of your sister. P.S. Thanks to book friend 2020090600260829 for the reward. Chapter 377, 100% drunk and belt dropped in the blink of an eye. It's time to get off work. Changing room. Adam, let's go out tonight? Bald Chris invited. Yes. I promise you'll have a blast. Fatty Stu smiled obscenely. No, you guys go have fun. Adam shook his head and laughed. No, look at what this is. Fatty Stu took out a thick stack of paper bills from his pocket, all of which were $1 bills. You guys are going to the dance club. Adam immediately realized, this kind of small denomination, a big bill can be exchanged for a lot, most suitable for tips, is the standard for going to the dance club. Adam, you are very experienced. Fatty Stu had an expression of I see through you. I've been there. It's not interesting. Adam didn't pretend, and told the truth. In order to divert Chandler's attention from Joey's girlfriend, Adam often took Chandler there. But for people of higher levels, there's really nothing interesting there. Okay, Adam, do you still need to go there with your conditions? Bald Chris interrupted Stu's next words. His invitation was just a courtesy, as he knew Adam would never go with them. Okay. Fatty Stu was a little disappointed, and gave Adam a look that said you don't know how to appreciate. He put on a coat and hurriedly followed Bald Chris, without even changing his blue shirt. But Adam noticed that Bald Chris was also dressed like this, and he couldn't help but seriously doubt whether the two of them did it on purpose. To paraphrase the words of Zhang Yida, the Golden Warrior, if you tear off the price tag, how can others know whether he is wearing high-end goods or street goods? Bald Chris and Fatty Stu went to the dancer club to play. Apart from a few small denomination paper bills, what else could be more attractive than the blue shirt that represents surgeons? Don't despise the poor young people. Maybe the dancer is a big-eyed heroine who sees their potential and is willing to pay for them. In fact, this is also related to the low salary of interns, and the high consumption, so they don't have much money. Otherwise, they would just change a few $100s in bills and slap them on the side of the stage, and the dancers on the stage would immediately dance over here. Adam changed his clothes and walked to the hospital lobby. He saw Meredith, who was dressed in casual clothes, walking towards Dr. Shept, who was sitting on the sofa in the same outfit. Dr. Shept stood up and straightened Meredith's coat without hesitation. The intimacy was like announcing to the whole world that they were together. Well, in fact, their affair had already spread throughout the hospital. Everyone knew about it. Meredith was even severely punished by Dr. Natry Bailey for a few days for this, and was specifically asked to do the most tiring, dirty and unskilled work. She managed to survive, and even said to Dr. Bailey at one point, "We are true love. This is my choice. You have no right to interfere. If you have any punishment, just do it. I can handle it. Dr. Shept was Dr. Bailey's superior doctor. Dr. Bailey had expressed his meaning, and that was it. How dare he really punish his boss girlfriend to death? Wasn't he afraid that Dr. Shept would do the same to her? Therefore, Meredith won. Dr. Bailey was moved by the declaration of true love, and the matter ended there. This public display of affection is also a silent declaration of Meredith's victory. Look, we are above board. The two also saw Adam. Meredith smiled at Adam. Dr. Shept nodded to Adam. Adam nodded and smiled, but suddenly saw Dr. Shept's face stiffen, and he couldn't help but be a little surprised. Then he saw a tall red-haired woman, wearing high heels, walking towards the above-board couple. No way! Adam immediately noticed something and complained in his heart. It can't be so ridiculous, right? Meredith, I'm really sorry. Dr. Shept froze for a moment, and immediately looked at his girlfriend apologetically. Meredith was stunned. What's going on? Addison, what are you doing here? Dr. Shept looked at the red-haired woman standing in front of them with one hand on her waist. If you call me back, you'll know why I'm here. The red-haired woman had a strong aura. She said something to Dr. Shept, and reached out to Meredith, who looked confused but actually had a bad feeling in her heart, and said, "Hello, my name is Addison Shept." Shept? Meredith almost couldn't hold it in. She had the same last name as Shept, but this red-haired woman didn't look like her boyfriend's sister. "You are my husband's mistress, right?" The red-haired woman's generous words completely shattered Meredith's last fantasy. "I'm a mistress." Meredith's mind was full of this. She risked being isolated and punished, and bravely announced that she and her boss's boss, Dr. Shept, were in a true love relationship. But now she found out that she was just a mistress who thought too much. Looking at the red-haired woman's mocking eyes, Meredith turned and left. "Meredith!" Dr. Shept reached out to pull Meredith, but Meredith shook him off fiercely. The hateful look stopped Dr. Shept from taking the next step. Adam. Watching Meredith's departure, Dr. Shept glanced at Adam, who had seen enough of the drama and was about to quietly leave. "Please keep an eye on Meredith for me." Adam had no choice but to nod and chase Meredith. Dr. Shept called him Adam directly instead of the usual distant Duncan, which meant that it was not a request. If there is something, call Adam. If there is nothing, call Duncan. Dr. Shept is also very realistic. Adam can naturally refuse such a private matter, but he just wants to keep an eye on Meredith tonight to prevent Meredith from doing something stupid when he is emotionally excited. Regardless of his identity as Meredith's friend or a favor from the attending physician, Adam would not refuse such a thing. Opposite the medical center, Joe's bar, Adam saw Meredith rushing over and secretly breathed a sigh of relief, drowning sorrow in alcohol. This is very Meredith. After Adam followed into Joe's bar, he saw Meredith, who had just sat at the bar, gulp down a glass of whiskey, and then turned it upside down on the bar with a bang. The bartender Joe immediately refilled it. Snap, snap, snap. Meredith sipped 3 gulps in a row, and then slowed down a little. This way of drinking made Adam a little scared, because Meredith has a traditional skill of getting drunk and losing her belt. Once she gets drunk, Adam will definitely be extremely dangerous. And even if Adam firmly refuses to accept it, she will definitely launch an offensive against other men. Watching others cheat on Dr. Shept. What about Dr. Shept's favor? It's hard to say. Adam began to call up the memory bank data about Dr. Shept in his brain and began to seriously analyze this possibility. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378 A Perfect Day. Joe's Bar. What a pity. Adam called up the memory database, analyzed it carefully, and came to the conclusion that Dr. Shept should not have a cuckold complex. He sighed. Then, he took out his phone and prepared to call someone. In this case, it would be safer to call Christina, Liz and the others. Bang! The door of the bar was pushed open. Speak of the devil. The devil appears. George with a dark face and Christina with a wooden face walked in one after another. Adam was delighted, put away the phone, greeted them, and sat down next to Meredith. "Give me a bottle of beer." George immediately ordered a bottle of beer after sitting down, and poured it directly into his mouth after receiving it. "Let's play a game to see who is the most unlucky." Meredith looked at it, with a dazed look in her eyes and a little crazy. "I will win. I will always win." "You don't want to play this with me?" Christina had a blank expression on her face, as if she was warning a peerless master. "Let's play 4 of us. Whoever loses will treat us." George glanced at Adam and shouted loudly, "I agree, I agree." Meredith and Christina looked at Adam and agreed in unison. "Okay, I agree too." Adam shrugged. It was obvious that they had accumulated a lot of resentment towards Adam's "You're the one" recently, and the 3 of them obviously had their own troubles, so they had to pay a little tonight. But Adam didn't care. "It's just some wine money. If you have the guts, drink me out of money." "Joe, you heard it." Meredith laughed. "When the time comes, serve good wine. It will make him feel bad." "I heard it." Joe looked at Adam, saw Adam nodded, and smiled in agreement. But he was also a sensible person, and the wine he brought out later was a little higher grade, and he didn't treat Adam as a fool. He has been running a bar here for more than 10 years, and he is doing word of mouth and business, so he naturally can't ruin his good reputation. "I'll say it first." Meredith drank another glass of wine, then turned sideways and looked at everyone. "Drake is a married man." Puff. When George heard this, the beer he was pouring into his mouth sprayed out directly from his mouth and nostrils. "What?" George wiped it and exclaimed. But in addition to being shocked, Adam clearly saw the fleeting joy in his eyes. The depression and frustration of offending the top anesthesiologist or other doctors today are nothing compared to the good news that the goddess brought to the spare tire. The goddess was stabbed in the back, and the window of opportunity was wide open. It was the time for his generation to rise up and pursue her. "I said I would win." Meredith laughed foolishly with a little drunkenness. "You didn't win." Christina was not surprised at all, and drank calmly, quite like a peerless master. "Didn't you listen to me?" Meredith said unhappily. "I said that stupid, philandering liar is already married. No matter what you say, you can't beat me. I'm the worst in the room. I'm pregnant." Christina took another sip of wine and said lightly, "Don't." Meredith was immediately speechless. "Dr. Burks," Adam interrupted. "It's not yours anyway." Christina rolled her eyes at Adam. "How could you?" Meredith also forgot that she was a mistress. She was shocked and puzzled and said, "You are all doctors. Didn't you take safety measures?" "The first time was an emergency." At that moment, who would waste time looking for safety measures? Christina complained. Not everyone is like Adam's friend with a broken leg. He always carries a long list of safety measures in his pocket. Even if he does, he doesn't use them every time. Otherwise he wouldn't be infected with the aphrodisiac. She didn't say anything else. That was the time when she was taken by Dr. Burke to have an operation. Dr. Burke's superb medical skills deeply attracted her. Afterwards, she took the initiative to find Dr. Burke, blocked him in the doctor's duty room, and locked the door. Adam's mouth twitched. Those who didn't know him all called Barney Adam's friend with a broken leg. With Barney's eccentric style, he was the center of public opinion everywhere, and even Adam's image was affected. "Did you take safety measures afterwards?" Meredith asked. "Of course." Christina took another sip of wine in frustration. "It was a hit." Adam sighed. "What are you going to do?" Meredith glared at Adam and looked at Christina with concern. "Is that even a question?" Adam couldn't help but say, looking at how she drinks, "She definitely won't accept it. The date is Wednesday, right? This is the big event we've been guessing about." "Oh," George suddenly realized, "no wonder you asked me to take your place." "Christina, have you really decided?" Meredith advised. "How about you think about it carefully? You don't want to have a good chat with me like the doctor I have an appointment with, do you?" Christina took another sip of wine and sneered. "Raise the baby yourself or give it to someone else? The premise is that I have to carry the baby for 10 months and give it to someone else first. I'm a surgical intern. I want to be a great female surgeon like your mother. I don't have time to waste on this." "If it were you, what would you choose?" Meredith was stunned. The reason why she chose to be a doctor: on the one hand, her mother looked down on her and thought that she could not become the best surgeon like herself, and she wanted to fight back against her mother with facts. On the other hand, she actually deeply admired her mother's legendary reputation in the field of surgery. It is already very difficult to become a qualified surgeon, not to mention having a child and raising one. Her speechless response already represented her choice. See? Christina took another sip of wine and sneered, so I didn't hesitate from beginning to end. Have you checked it? Adam reminded. Don't make it an ectopic pregnancy. Christina's face changed immediately. Ectopic pregnancy is very dangerous. Once the fallopian tube bursts and bleeds heavily, the fallopian tube must be removed. In severe cases, it may even be life-threatening. I'm fine. I'll have surgery the day after tomorrow. Everything will return to normal after that. Christina forced herself to pick up the wine and pour it into her mouth, but was stopped by Adam. What are you doing? Go back to the hospital and do a color ultrasound. Adam snatched Christina's wine glass. If I remember correctly, you seem to be smoking. The chance of ectopic pregnancy is originally higher than others. You are in the hospital almost all day long. I'm afraid you won't last until the day after tomorrow. I'm not going to the hospital. Christina resisted. She made an appointment for surgery at another hospital because she was afraid that her colleagues in the hospital would know. Let's go to another hospital. Adam called out. Meredith, George, why are you still standing there? Hold her and follow me. Oh, Christina, listen to Adam. George and Meredith also reacted, and without saying a word, they held Christina on the left and right and walked out of the bar. Joe, put the bill on me first. Adam raised his chin. No problem. Joe smiled. Even Alex can get credit here, let alone Adam. Adam was in a good mood. First, he eliminated the danger for his friend Christina, and maybe he could even increase her lifespan. Second, he took the opportunity to divert Meredith's attention, so that her special skill would be 100% drunk and her belt would fall off and she couldn't use it tonight. In addition, he performed 2 advanced operations today and earned favors from 2 famous doctors. It was a perfect day. Chapter 379 New York City News Channel, Williams Clinic in New York. This is a private clinic. It specializes in gynecology. At this time, if you want to get checked immediately without an appointment, the only option is a private clinic, except for the local medical center. Well, of course, you have to pay extra money. Otherwise, if you only rely on the hospital designated by the medical insurance to make an appointment for surgery, if you encounter force majeure, it may not be the appointment time when Christina gives birth to the baby. Of course, if the second and third babies can be connected, it should be possible. Adam drove the car, and George and Meredith sat in the back seat with Christina on the left and right, and came to this famous private clinic. I have made an appointment and can do it the day after tomorrow. Christina resisted a little. My medical insurance is not supported here. You are the big winner in tonight's game. Adam smiled and said, I am the loser, so just think of it as a bet I lost to you. It's just a check and it doesn't cost much. If it is not an ectopic pregnancy, you can wait until the day after tomorrow. And if it is an ectopic pregnancy, I believe it is worth spending any money. Besides, we are all doctors and we may open our own private clinics in the future. Just think of it as an opportunity for us to visit and learn in advance. Don't you think so? Yes, Christina, just think of it as a visit and learning together. George and Meredith agreed. I am unlucky, but I will never be that unlucky. Christina laughed at herself helplessly, but Adam had said so much, so she would not say anything more. Although the medical insurance does not support it, she is not really unable to pay for the expenses outside the medical insurance. Stepdaughter is also a daughter, the daughter of a rich man, understand? Half an hour later. How could this happen? Christina looked at the color ultrasound picture and her face turned pale. The doctor didn't need to say anything, because she was a doctor herself. It's really an ectopic pregnancy. Meredith looked at her with some worry. This is a blessing in disguise. Adam comforted her. It's better to find it early and do surgery early than to have the fallopian tube rupture and remove it, or to have heavy bleeding and die without rescue in time, right? Thinking about it, it's true. Meredith's eyes, which had been awakened by the ectopic pregnancy, became blurry again. Shit. Adam cursed inwardly. No way. Is it a skill to lose your belt when you are 100% drunk? It's been interrupted. How come there is this sign again? It's not his fault for thinking too much, because the object of Meredith's blurry eyes was actually looking at him. Do the surgery now. Adam ignored Meredith's eyes and said to Christina. The sooner you finish, the sooner you recover. Interns don't have that much time to waste. Yeah, this time, Christina didn't refuse and agreed directly. As a doctor, she knew the dangers of ectopic pregnancy best. With her work intensity, it is estimated that she will not last until the day after tomorrow. Dr. Williams, arrange the surgery, Adam said to the gynecologist who was waiting for the decision. Okay. Dr. Williams smiled and nodded, and left to make preparations. Christina, do you want to notify Dr. Burke? Adam asked in vain. No. As expected, Christina gave a negative answer, with a very firm expression. Adam nodded. Meredith, you accompany Christina to the operating room. Okay. Meredith agreed, and her eyes looked at Adam more blurred. George's pale face became even paler. The private clinic that added money was so fast. Christina soon entered the operating room accompanied by Meredith. Waiting area. Adam leaned there, holding the remote control, and casually flipped through the TV. What's wrong? Nothing. George's eyes were evasive. Adam knew what he meant, but since he didn't say it, Adam was happy to pretend not to know. I was afraid that he couldn't hold it in. Sure enough, after a while. Adam, don't you think Dr. Shept is going too far? George couldn't help but say. He's married, but he still pretends to be single to deceive Meredith. Adam flipped through the TV programs and said casually, what do you want to do? He also felt that Dr. Shept was a bit of a scumbag. Meredith and Dr. Shept met and slept together on the eve of the first day of internship, and the internship has been more than 2 months. Even if they stayed overnight at Meredith's house, it has been more than a week. For such a long time, Dr. Shept didn't tell Meredith about such a big thing, which was unacceptable. And Adam remembered that a few days ago, Meredith felt that there was more heart and less love between them, and she didn't understand him at all. So she chased him from home to the hospital, and chased him during work hours to ask him about some things, wanting to understand him. What was the result? He only took Meredith to his home, a motorhome, and talked about some modular things. For example, several sisters, several nephews, what they like to eat, what kind of wine they like to drink, what they like to do in their spare time, favorite novels, bands, and colors. It seemed very sincere, and Meredith was so happy that she almost dismantled the RV that night. But the most important thing, marriage, was not mentioned at all. Barney's famous saying, touching bubbles are like breaking up bubbles, which are the most supreme experience that cannot be missed. Adam could only call him an expert. I want to pursue Meredith, George gritted his teeth and said. But he did not wait for the expected reaction. Adam seemed not to hear him and stared at the TV. Adam. George was a little dissatisfied. SHH. Adam immediately silenced him. George was surprised and looked over in the direction of Adam's sight. He saw a news broadcast on TV, and there were 2 familiar figures in it. Boycott dancers. Women are happier. On TV, a group of people blocked the door of a dancer club and were protesting. TV reporters were interviewing. Excuse me, are you 2 going to the dancer club? A very beautiful female reporter quickly caught up with the bald Chris and the fat white Stu who just walked over and turned to leave. Of course not, we're here to join the parade. Bald Chris was quick-witted. We're worried about the children. Fat Stu nodded, looking like he agreed. What's in your pocket? The pretty female reporter didn't let them go, and pointed the camera at the bundle of small money in Fat Stu's shirt pocket. This is $38 in change. I spent $40 on a newspaper, and this is my change. Fat Stu was a little panicked. Puff. Adam and George burst out laughing. Brother, where are the 40 denomination US dollars? And even if there are, who will give you $38 $1 change? The pretty female reporter obviously understood this truth, and was about to take the opportunity to make a big news, when she heard a bang and looked back, and saw her photographer fainted on the ground. Neil. OMG. Sir? Everyone exclaimed. Bald Chris and Fat Stu immediately moved. No pulse. Start CPR. Call an ambulance. The pretty female reporter was also a character. She picked up the fallen camera and filmed and talked about the rescue scene. Now we are broadcasting live to you 2 young doctors, the cameraman who is trying to save me. Robin Chybsky from New York City News. Chapter 380. Dude, did you see that girl? New York. Ted and Matthew's apartment. She's here. Ted was lying on the sofa, his eyes fixed on the New York City News channel, which was never watched by many people. When Robin appeared on the TV, he immediately sat up straight. Now we will go to the medical center to save my colleague Neil. Medical center. Ted muttered, picked up his coat, stood up and walked out. Hey, what a coincidence. Barney and Adam are both there, Lily said in surprise. Before he finished speaking, Ted stopped and then accelerated to 100 meters. What's wrong with him? Lily asked curiously. Baby, don't you understand? Matthew smiled and said, Ted is trying to pursue Robin again. Otherwise he wouldn't have gone to the trouble of tracking her location and wanted to arrange a chance encounter. But no matter whether it's Barney or Adam, they are both women's disasters and men's natural enemies. How can he not worry? Ted is really a little crazy. Lily shook her head. Not only did he scare Robin away by saying I love you on the first date, but now he has turned into a stalker. I regret introducing Robin to him before. A few days ago, McAllen Bar. Matthew and Lily's sweetness was too dazzling. Ted was once again talking about his declaration of finding true love, and then he turned around and saw the extremely beautiful Robin. So, just like the scene in the old movie, a sailor saw a girl on the crowded dance floor, turned around and said to his partner, see that girl, one day I will marry her. Hey, Dad, Mom, did you see that girl? Ted leaned back tactically and bumped into the couple who were hugging and kissing as if no one was around. I found the future Mrs. Ted Mosby. Matthew and Lily's relationship was too stable, just like an old married couple. In addition, Lily was particularly good at giving guidance and support to her friends, and Matthew was growing into a lawyer who was good at talking. Therefore, when the three of them lived together, Ted sometimes jokingly called them Dad and Mom. Wow, she's so hot. The one who exclaimed was not Matthew, but Lily. Robin was very beautiful and had a heroic spirit. Men were moved when they saw her, and many women were also moved when they saw her. Ted, what are you waiting for? Go, Matthew urged. I can't go up directly. I need to plan it, or wait until she goes to the bathroom. Ted hesitated. Hey, have you met Ted? Lily rolled her eyes, and when Robin came to the bar to order a drink, she imitated Barney's routine, patted Robin's shoulder from behind, said something, turned around and left the battlefield to Ted. Everything was going well, but unfortunately Ted was too impulsive and said I love you in advance, which scared Robin away who just wanted to be casual now. But she and Lily became good friends. After learning from Lily that Robin didn't want to be serious now and just wanted a casual relationship, Ted began to plan the second wave of offensive. However, in order to pretend to be casual, he couldn't even ask her out directly. He could only track her first, then arrange a chance meeting, and casually invite her to a party that didn't exist at all but would be arranged at any time. Ted called himself the casual little prince. Lily, who also advocated romance, thought Ted was a little crazy. Matthew, let's go over there too. It's a good opportunity to see Barney and Adam, Lily suggested. Yeah, that's fine. Matthew naturally had no objection. Medical center. Ted? Robin was standing in the corridor, asking bald Chris about Neil's condition when she fainted. Suddenly, she caught a glimpse of a familiar figure and couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise. Robin? Wow, what a coincidence. Ted had seen her a long time ago, but he deliberately turned around and waited for Robin to greet him first, then turned around in a pretentious manner. His expression and tone were actually not exaggerated, but his sweaty forehead caused by running fast, in the eyes of old driver Robin, showed his underwear, which looked a little funny. But Robin also had a good impression of him, so she didn't expose him. Why are you here? Me? Ted panicked, but fortunately he remembered what Lily said and covered up. I'm here to see a friend. My good friend Barney is hospitalized here. The Barney that Lily mentioned. Robin smiled and said, I haven't seen him yet. I'll go with you to see him. No, Ted shouted, and seeing Robin's surprise, he quickly explained, he's not in a good condition to see people. You don't want to go. As he said that, He made a disgusted expression. Oh, Robin showed a look of understanding and didn't mention it anymore. By the way, what are you doing here? Ted changed the subject. My colleague. Robin told the story. Is he okay? Ted asked. It should be fine. Robin shrugged. That's what the doctor told me. That's good. Ted breathed a sigh of relief, and then the casual little prince came online, showing his casualness in a pompous way. By the way, I just happened to meet you. There is a party on Friday night. If you like, you can come. Of course, you are free to do it. Oh, I have to go home this weekend, Robin said regretfully. It would be better if the party was tonight. Yes, tonight. Ted immediately changed his tone. I was wrong just now. I have been saying Friday recently. I am used to it. In fact, the party is tonight. Tonight. As for the party, it's up to you. Okay. Robin agreed with a smile. Matthew, Lily, you are here too. Ted saw them coming and hurriedly walked over to them, whispering to remind them. There is a party tonight. Don't let it slip. I will go back to arrange it first. After that, he exchanged some pleasantries, winked at Matthew and Lily, and left first. William's clinic. Hello. Adam received a call from Lily. I'm off work, not in the hospital. Party? Okay, I'll go if I'm done here. Hang up the phone. You want to go to the party? George said enviously. Let's wait until Christina finishes the operation. Adam shook his head. It's true that he hasn't had a party with Matthew and Lily for a long time, but they are all friends who provide him with attribute points. Partying and chatting are obviously not as important as surgery. Every mature doctor will tell the patient or family before the operation. Surgery has risks. Because the first step of the operation is anesthesia, there is no such thing as 100% safety. So even if the person who is operating on Christina now is an absolute master in this field, he will not leave immediately to go to the party. 2 hours later, the operation is over. There is no dramatic scene. Everything goes smoothly. Meredith, Christina is in your hands. Stay with her here tonight. Is it okay? Adam asked. Of course. Meredith nodded. The two are classmates and best friends in medical school. This is what should be done. In fact, Adam doesn't need to say it, but Meredith encountered setbacks today and drank a lot of wine. That's why Adam gave him some instructions. George, let's go. Adam asked George to leave. He was worried about George staying. After tonight, even if George cheated on Dr. Shept in front of him, he would just watch the fun. But not tonight. It's fine if he can't get Dr. Shep's favor, but he must not bear a grudge against him. It's enough to have Meredith here. Go back and have a good rest. You have to go to work tomorrow morning. You have to cover for Christina in the next 2 days. Adam didn't give George a chance to speak and dragged him away. Matthew and Ted's apartment. A party was held under Ted's extreme mobilization. The apartment was full of people. Matthew and Lily, when they came with Robin, secretly gave Ted a thumbs up, but Ted didn't have time to pay attention to them. When he saw them come in, he hurriedly picked up his architect's drawing tools. He originally planned to find a beautiful woman to show his charm and casualness to Robin, but at this time, there was no beautiful woman in front of him, only a gay man. But when he saw Robin coming, he could only force himself to act. Hi, how are you feeling? Robin walking behind him. Ted turned around accidentally, leaned back tactically, and greeted casually. Hi, nice party. Robin praised. Please help yourself, Ted said casually, turned around and continued to talk to the gay guy about his cool architecture. Robin likes to be casual. He is so casual. Robin was a little confused, and seeing that Ted really ignored her, she had to walk towards Lily. Seeing this, Ted showed a smug smile at the corner of his mouth. He wanted to leave Robin alone for an hour, and then casually invite her to the roof again. The moon, the stars, the hazy night sky. On the roof, no one can resist falling in love. The plan is so perfect. What's wrong with Ted? I feel he is weird. Robin complained to Lily. Lily smiled bitterly. She knew the reason, but she couldn't say it, because as soon as she said that, Robin knew that she was a big mouth, and turned around and told Ted what Robin had clearly told her not to say before. Robin. Lily racked her brains to think of what to say, but was interrupted by Robin. Robin leaned back tactically and bumped into her, with uncontrollable surprise in his voice. Hey, Lily, did you see that man? If I get married one day, I want to marry him. Lily. P.S. Thank you for the reward from and exclamation mark. There will be 2 more updates today. Chapter 381 Shouldn't It Be Love? Apartment party. Same scene, similar lines. Last time it was Ted who said it. This time it was Robin who said it. But it would be nice if there were only the 2 of them in the 2 scenes. Oh, Ted. Lily couldn't help but look at Ted, who was still pretending to be casual, her eyes full of pity and self-blame. This was her fault. Because she and Adam were old friends, she had forgotten how attractive Adam was to girls. That's right, who else could make Robin, an old driver with such good conditions and wide experience, lose her composure like this but Adam. Fearing that Robin would say something more exaggerated, Lily quickly waved to Adam, who came in, and then explained to Robin in a low voice, "He is the Adam I told you about before." The surgeon. Robin's eyes brightened, and he whispered, "You didn't tell me that he was so handsome and so elegant, but he is a surgeon. It seems that he should be like this, otherwise how could patients trust him so much?" Lily's mouth twitched, and there was more bitter smile and self-blame in her eyes. This attitude is almost exactly the same as the one Ted had when he first met Robin, but the result will definitely not be the same as Ted's, because Robin advocates casual feelings. Adam is notoriously casual and would never say something stupid like "I love you." Besides, before, it was a man chasing a woman. Now it's a woman chasing a man. Once Robin takes the initiative to attack like Ted did before, with Robin's appearance, even she can't resist it, let alone Adam as a man. That's right. Although Lily loves Matthew deeply, she can't resist Robin's charm and often has demonic fantasies in her eyes. This is also one of the reasons why she and Robin became good friends so quickly. Oh, poor Ted. Thinking of this, Lily couldn't help but sigh for her good friend again. The same mentality, empathy is stronger. She understands it all. "Hi, Lily." Adam walked over. "Let me introduce you." Feeling Robin secretly nudging her from behind, Lily reluctantly introduced the 2 parties. "Adam, this is Robin. Robin, this is Adam." "Hi, Robin." "Hi, Adam." Adam had watched the American TV series How I Met Your Mother in his previous life, so he was not surprised at Robin's appearance and greeted her calmly. Robin, however, was a little overly enthusiastic. "I heard that you are a surgeon?" "Yes." Adam smiled and said, "The 2 doctors you interviewed on TV just now are surgical interns in the same group as me." "Wow." Robin heard this and exclaimed very exaggeratedly, "That's such a coincidence." Adam couldn't help but glance at Lily. Something was wrong with this development. In his impression, Ted and she should be a couple at this time. Lily kept winking at him, but the frequency was too high and the amount of information was too large, so it didn't even seem like eye contact. It was a bit like eyelid spasm. Adam was also a little confused for a moment. "This is incoherent. Your 2 colleagues are so funny." They took a bundle of small money to the dancers club, but said it was the change for buying a $40 newspaper. "Are all surgeons so humorous?" Seeing that Adam did not respond immediately, Robin took the initiative to continue. "Only Chris and Stu are like this." Adam hurriedly distanced himself from the matter. If these 2 idiots had not shown off their first aid on the spot, and if no one watched New York City news, they would definitely become a laughingstock. The 2 chatted a little more on this topic. Adam didn't say much. "Haha, you are so humorous." It was a normal conversation, but Robin seemed to hit the funny point. He stretched out his left hand and patted Adam's chest. His right hand kept pulling back his long hair. In a weird tone, he laughed exaggeratedly. Too humorous. As Robin pulled the hair, the unique perfume smell became stronger. Adam's mouth twitched. He is familiar with this routine. When Rachel first fell in love with him and used her conventional, ultimate skills to seduce him, it was similar to this. One was to let Adam open his heart inadvertently and go the intimate route. One was to praise Adam's humor too much and go the admiration route. One left halfway, letting Adam see the curves of her back. One kept tossing her hair, letting Adam smell the scent of a woman. One reached out and drew circles on the back of Adam's hand. One reached out and tapped Adam's chest. Adam had no doubts. If Robin knew that there was a deputy director of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a parallel universe, she would definitely put on her S.H.I.E.L.D. deputy director and aerospace carrier commander uniform, just like Rachel took out the invincible red cheerleading uniform at the bottom of the box, and asked Adam with a cold face to immediately hand over the weapons of mass destruction and accept S.H.I.E.L.D.'s supervision. Rejecting Rachel was not because Rachel was not beautiful, but because he was afraid of affecting his good friendship with Leonard and having a negative impact on his path to becoming a great doctor. The reason why he rejected Robin was not because Robin was not beautiful, but because Ted and Barney would be entangled with her for the rest of his life, and it was his principle not to mess up the relationship in his circle of friends. Wait, otherwise, why not be friends with Ted and Barney? I believe Barney can fully understand. Thinking of this, Adam hesitated. Adam, Matthew. Lily walked away for a while, and Matthew came over immediately. The tangled expression in his eyes clearly told Adam that he came here with a mission. Alas, Adam sighed in his heart. Ted and Barney were insignificant, but Matthew and Lily were really good friends that he admired. And they were inseparable from Ted. For the harmony of the circle of friends, Adam resolutely opposed the chaos of permutations and combinations, and decided to give up. After all, although Robin was beautiful, she was not the kind of beauty that could not be compared with the world. Besides, she is an experienced driver. Maybe she is not seasick even if she is tied to a rope and cannot be seasick like Adam. She also has the special skill of being in love with someone 1 second and feeling nothing at all the next second. Adam kept finding excuses for himself, but none of these excuses were sufficient or necessary. Let's chat alone? Matthew smiled apologetically at Robin and winked at Adam. You guys chat. I just need to find Lily for something. Unexpectedly, Robin walked away tactfully. Adam, Ted held the party urgently just to confess his love to Robin again. Matthew told the beginning of Ted and Robin in this life, although he did not tell Adam not to provoke Robin. After all, Robin is still single now. Logically, whoever is capable should do it. But the meaning of the exhortation is very clear. I understand. Adam patted Matthew on the shoulder. The heart is not everything in life. In my opinion, friendship is much more important than the heart. Yeah. Matthew was very moved and nodded heavily. He felt that no one understood friendship better and cherished friendship more than Adam. But then he felt weird. Shouldn't it be love? Why say heart? There's something wrong with the way Matthew looks at Adam. P.S. Thanks to Lisu for the tip. Chapter 382 goes straight to the Razor apartment party. You are such an Adam. I am so loyal. Matthew reacted and had an eye contact with Adam. But having said that, he still believed that Adam understood and cherished friendship the most. Because there is not so much love in the world. What is the most primitive motivation for a man to pursue a woman? It's still the heart. It is already very remarkable that Adam can suppress his heart for friendship. Well, at this moment he subconsciously ignored the fact that Adam doesn't need Robin at all. Matthew's bedroom. Lily, where is your razor? Robin grabbed Lily's shoulders with both hands and said anxiously, no. Lily shouted, yes, give it to me. Robin shouted, I haven't shaved my legs for several days. Western female dating tradition. Shave your legs before a date to respect your opponent. Monica has this habit. In fact, this is nothing. In the future, people like Penny will do bikini waxing regularly. When Amy had been grinding Sheldon for 6 or 7 years, on her birthday, Sheldon decided to give himself as a gift to Amy. Penny and Bernadette took Amy to do it. Of course, not all girls are like this. Some girls' physiques are more like those of Eastern women. You set a new rule yourself. For the first 3 dates, you must not shave your legs. You set it to cultivate your self-control. Leg hair is there, and reservedness is there. Lily reminded, this is not even the first date. Where is your belief? It has been removed by the perfect doctor. Robin said self-deprecatingly. No. Lily still shook her head. She regretted it even more now. Who would have thought that Robin was so unrestrained and was ready to launch a general attack as soon as they met? Please, Lily. Robin clasped his hands together and begged. I don't want to either, but Adam is so handsome. You should understand my feeling. Tilda. Lily was speechless. There was nothing wrong with what Robin said. She really understood. Adam is very romantic. Lily tried to dispel Robin's thoughts. Really? Robin turned completely shiny when she heard it. Lily was angry. Women don't love men who are not bad. A romantic man is indeed more attractive to women. He is a very romantic man, Lily encouraged herself. His famous saying is more than friends, less than lovers, and he will never upgrade you to full. Great, Robin praised. This is so similar to me. I have almost never reached the stage of lovers. It ends naturally. I think this is very good. It is very casual, easy and free. Lily was so tired. I didn't realize that Adam and Robin's values were so weirdly matched. What a weird couple. Ted, it's not that I didn't work hard enough, it's that their values are too weird. Lily complained in her heart. Lily? Robin looked at her eagerly. Adam is in love with several girls at the same time. Lily suddenly thought of something and made a last-ditch effort. I heard that his needs are too strong and one girl can't handle it. Really? Robin frowned. Absolutely true. Lily thought she had hit the point, and was overjoyed. She nodded repeatedly. Adam's physical strength is notoriously abnormal. One of his female colleagues originally lived with him, but later she couldn't stand it and moved out directly, tacitly accepting his scumbag behavior. You definitely can't stand it, emotionally and physically. I don't believe it. Robin suddenly laughed. Men like to brag. If he is really like this, I will accept it. She was raised as a boy by her father since she was a child. She has a strong personality, never admits defeat, likes violent sports, especially guns, and can be called a gun fanatic. How could she be afraid? Not only was she not afraid, but she became more interested in Adam. Lily slapped her forehead. She was completely helpless. Lily, I just came to New York from Canada and my career has just started. To put it nicely, I am a reporter for New York City News, but I only report small stories and no one pays attention to them. Not to mention that New York City News is not well known in the news media industry. I have my own aspirations. I want to be the most successful reporter and I must win the Pulitzer Prize. This requires me to spend more time and energy on my career. In terms of feelings, I really just want to be more casual now. Do you understand? Robin said sincerely. And I'm not going to marry Adam right away. I have to try it to know what he is like. For me and him, no matter what, we won't suffer any loss. The razor is in the bathroom. I'll get it for you. Lily smiled bitterly. What else could she say? Apart from shouting 666, she could only hand Robin the razor. She tried her best. Thank you. Robin smiled. Living room. Baby, what's wrong with you? Matthew saw Lily coming out with a gloomy look and immediately went to meet her. When Lily told him the story, Matthew opened his mouth wide. How about we try to persuade Ted? Lily looked at Ted, who was still pretending to be casual, and said with a wry smile, Robin wants real casualness, the kind of casualness that Adam wants, and Ted can't pretend to be. Yeah, Matthew nodded. Robin is wholeheartedly pursuing a career in journalism, and Adam is wholeheartedly pursuing a career in medicine. They both say and think that their careers are the first priority, and feelings are just seasonings, while Ted says and thinks that he is pursuing love and marriage. He is indeed not the same kind of person as them. What should we do? Lily said worriedly. I think Ted seems to be very serious. But it's not surprising. Robin is so attractive in terms of appearance and personality. If I were Ted, I would also think that Robin is my true love. I'll go and persuade him. Matthew sighed. Anyway, tonight is the party Ted is hosting for Robin. We can't let Adam and Robin provoke Ted. I'll let Adam go first, and we can only let nature take its course as to how things develop afterwards. Will Adam listen? Lily asked doubtfully. He will. Matthew smiled. In fact, he is even willing to resolutely resist Robin's temptation for Ted. Really? Lily didn't believe it. Baby, although Adam is as romantic as Barney, his character is completely different from Barney's. Matthew said seriously. He values friendship. This is what I admire most about him. So even though he agreed, we shouldn't say anything about how he and Robin develop in the future. After all, Ted and Robin are fine. If Robin keeps taking the initiative, we can't expect Adam to stick with it forever, right? That's too inhumane. I understand, baby, Lily agreed. Then, the two went their separate ways. Lily went to give Robin a razor. Matthew asked Adam to leave the party first to avoid being caught by Razor Robin. Chapter 383 Encrypted Folder. Apartment party. I'm casual. No one is more casual than me. Ted was posing there, feeling very good. Just waiting for the explosion in half an hour. Ted, Matthew and Lily came over, and seeing that he was still deliberately casual, they couldn't help but feel pity. "Don't pretend, Robin is gone," Lily couldn't help but said. "What?" Ted was immediately confused. He hadn't even come on stage yet, and the heroine had already left. "Robin likes Adam," Lily said. "The matter?" No, Ted didn't want to accept it, especially after hearing that Robin's performance when he first saw Adam was so similar to his first meeting with Robin. He felt terrible. "Absolutely true." Matthew's eyes suddenly became firm. "Ted, accept the reality. Robin is not your true love." "No, she is," Ted shouted. "Oh, really?" Matthew asked. "Do you have any evidence?" "The feeling of love at first sight when we first met doesn't count, because Robin's performance has proved that the feeling was completely hormonal. She and I have the same interests and hobbies." Ted tried hard to find evidence that he and Robin were destined. "She likes dogs and Scotch whiskey, she likes to quote lines from Ghostbusters, and she hates olives." "Yes, the olive theory. You invented this." "Lily especially likes to eat olives, while Matthew especially hates them. When they meet olives, they don't fight or fight, and they complement each other perfectly. This is called the olive theory." Matthew pursed his lips and said to Lily, "Baby, I'm sorry, I lied. I like olives too." "What?" Lily and Ted exclaimed. "That was our first date," Matthew explained apologetically. "Lily, you asked me if I could give you the olives to eat. I was just an 18-year-old beast at the time, waiting for a girl to take my olive branch all my life. So what else could I say except of course, I hate olives?" "No." Lily felt uncomfortable. Ted was distracted. "Lily, I'm sorry, I lied," Matthew said. "But does our relationship really need an olive theory to support it?" Lily was stunned, then looked at Matthew affectionately. "No need." "Ted, you witnessed all the first times for Lily and me." Matthew held Lily's hand and looked at Ted. "Do you remember what it was like when we first fell in love? Is it like you now, saying I love you and you are my soulmate before we even started dating?" Ted was speechless. At the beginning, Matthew told him clearly, "Brother, it's just for fun. You don't think I will really give up the whole forest for Lily's tree, do you?" Feelings are developed through getting along. Matthew became more and more excited as he spoke, and his lawyer-like skills were revealed. "If you really believe in the saying of Mr. Right, you should believe that you don't have to work so hard to find her. One day, she will quietly appear by your side, just like Lily knocked on my dormitory door. But you have to be prepared. Don't be impatient. Get along slowly. What's yours will always be yours. If you are still like before, you fall in love with someone as soon as you see them, and you try too hard. You love them passionately one moment, but you have no feelings at all the next moment. You will hurt many good girls if you don't change. Even if your Mr. Right appears, or even if Robin falls in love with you, are you sure that you will still feel the same after a month? Even if 1 month is okay, what about a year? How many Robins have you left behind in the past?" Ted opened his mouth. Without high-definition image memory, he really couldn't count them. "You are too influenced by Barney," Matthew sighed. "You are too goal-oriented. When you saw that Lily and I were engaged, you immediately wanted love and engagement, and then you only focused on this. What's the difference between you and Barney, who always challenges you?" Where did Ted, who used to cry while holding the photo of his first love Helen, go? "Can you still find that feeling now?" "Yes," Lily agreed. "Even if the olive theory is true, so what? It's just a point of fit in your personality habits, and it's still a trivial point. How many olives do you eat in a year?" The biggest difference between you and Robin is in the treatment of love and career. She is dedicated to the development of her career, while you value love more. Imagine, when she is reporting news all over the United States, or even all over the world, and you can only see each other a few times a year. Even if it is true love, what can it do? This is the biggest and most irreconcilable contradiction. It is not invented by us, but the long-distance relationship theory that everyone knows. You are not a high school kid who cheated before going to college. "Ted, calm yourself down." Matthew patted Ted on the shoulder. "Don't be impatient. If there is really destiny, then today or tomorrow, your girl will always appear." Ted was silent. Was he really wrong? Could it be that the girl who originally belonged to him had really been abandoned by him? The next day, medical center. How is Christina? Adam met Meredith outside the hospital building and couldn't help asking. The operation was done in time. No problem. She was even anxious to come to work today. Meredith forced a smile. Hee. Adam couldn't help laughing. This is very Christina. George. Meredith shouted to George, who was walking quickly. But George ignored him and walked directly into the hospital building. Meredith smiled bitterly. No. Adam looked at them like this and had an ominous premonition in his heart. Don't tell me that George went to the clinic again last night? Meredith didn't answer, but lowered her head and walked in. No. Adam had a headache. This kind of behavior must be tricky. A favor from Dr. Shept, the attending physician, was just wasted. Damn. He was 100% drunk and dropped his belt. Changing room. Bang. George changed his clothes and slammed the closet door hard. So angry? Did he fail? Adam wondered in his heart, but he remained calm on the surface, pretending he didn't hear anything. The only memory of last night was that he told Meredith to take care of Christina and took George away. He didn't know anything else. Thinking of this, Adam encrypted this speculative memory. Number 19,980,901, memory 30M. Then he subconsciously glanced at the entire encrypted folder, and the 48G memory numbered 19,980,831 next to it was particularly conspicuous. Adam was not surprised at all that high-definition image memory also had this function. His ability was to copy Sheldon. Little Sheldon was praised by his father Dan when he ate beef, and he could remember the indescribable memories of his parents not long after he was born. In order to teach Leonard an unforgettable lesson, Sheldon suppressed his dissatisfaction for many years. How did he do that with his personality? He either actively or passively encrypted the memory that made him crazy, and temporarily did not touch it, waiting for a special situation to decrypt it. Sheldon can do it, so Adam can do it now. Chapter 384. Who gave you the courage? Medical Center. Green Clinic. Leonard handed a medical record to Adam. Adam, the Rices are my old friends. Their daughter Claire slipped in the bathtub this morning and had a fever. Mrs. Rice thinks her daughter has been in a bad mood and has lost weight recently. She suspects that it is related to her daughter's trip to Mexico with her friends a few weeks ago. You come with me. Okay. Adam took the medical record, quickly scanned it, and followed Leonard to the ward. Dr. Green, Mr. Rice, Mrs. Rice. Entering the ward, Leonard greeted a couple who were obviously English. Adam focused his eyes on Claire, the patient sitting in the ward, biting her lips and with a flickering look in her eyes. There was obviously something wrong with her condition. Claire, this is Dr. Duncan. After the greetings, Leonard looked at the patient. Let him check you out. I'm fine. I don't need to be checked out. Just give me some antibiotics and let me go home. Claire resisted. Don't take any medicine randomly. Adam smiled and said, the same goes for antibiotics. The doctor will only prescribe medicine for you after an examination, unless you know what's wrong with you. Claire's eyes panicked and she shook her head and said, I don't know. So you have to do an examination. Adam smiled and said, don't worry. It's just a simple examination. Be obedient and do the examination. Clive's father said, God, I don't want to stay here all day. Do the examination quickly. Claire's mother said impatiently. No. Claire shouted, this is crazy. I'm normal. I don't need an examination. Dr. Green, how about asking Dr. Zelang to come? Adam asked. Leonard was stunned, and then he understood Adam's eyes. The patient didn't want his parents to know about this. This matter was probably very private, and it might be the sequelae of pregnancy or abortion. As a young and handsome male doctor, Adam was indeed not very convenient. Go and call Gzwny. Leonard nodded. What's going on? Claire's parents said nervously. It's okay. Leonard comforted. Dr. Duncan is with us. Claire may have some concerns. Let Dr. Sheeran check her alone. Adam found Gzwny and told her. Gzwny came over immediately. Adam saw that he had nothing to do for the time being, so he prepared to go to the emergency room. Then he saw Meredith following a red-haired female doctor with a blank expression. Who else could it be if not Dr. Shep's wife? What's the situation? Adam was surprised. It's like this. A little nurse came over immediately and told the gossip. Adam grinned. TSK. It's really bloody. It turns out that Dr. Shep's wife is a famous obstetrician and gynecologist. She followed her husband from Boston. It seems that it was invited by Richard, the chief of surgery. Before she officially took office, she took her husband's mistress Meredith from Natui and temporarily served as an intern under her. The identity of the legitimate wife and the powerful aura of the senior doctor put Meredith under great psychological pressure. This is a beating. I just don't know if Meredith can stage a Jedi counterattack. Ding, ding ding. After staying in the emergency room for a while and helping to deal with a patient, the pager on his waist rang. After Adam saw it, he immediately rushed to the green clinic. Claire went to a black clinic in Mexico to secretly do a gastric bypass to assist in weight loss. Xvi introduced the condition. Are there sequelae? Adam understood. Since it is a black clinic, the conditions must be very poor. There is probably no sterile operating room and qualified doctors. The quality of the operation is very poor, and it is normal to have sequelae and complications. Yes, Xvi nodded. Subphrenic abscess, intestinal wall edema. Now her parents have agreed that we can do a gastric bypass reversal surgery for her. You get ready and go into the operating room with me. Okay. Adam nodded. Leonard, as the attending physician, also came in person this time to provide on-site guidance. The operation was successful. Noon, buffet restaurant. I heard that you did a gastric bypass reversal surgery this morning, Bianca said casually. Yes, Adam said. A little girl went to college, but she had too much schoolwork and didn't have enough time to exercise. Her weight loss effect was not obvious, and her mother always complained about it. She wanted to take shortcuts. She secretly saw the advertisement of a black clinic in Mexico on the internet, and went there with her friends to do a gastric bypass surgery, which caused complications. How stupid, Bianca sighed. Who said it wasn't? Adam nodded. In fact, she is not fat at all, and even if she gets fat, it's not a fatal thing. There are many men in the world who like chubby girls, but if she goes to a black clinic for this kind of surgery, she may really die if she is not careful, and her organs may even be cut off and sold. Bianca shuddered uncontrollably. She knew that what Adam said was not an exaggeration. One organ may save a life. In order to survive, people are willing to pay more than they can imagine. Therefore, on the black market, this kind of organ trading is particularly rampant because the profit is too great. Reports of people who specialize in deceiving people to dissect and sell all their organs are not uncommon. At this time, George came over and sat down. He looked like baby is suffering. Baby won't say it. Adam ignored him. Bianca frowned. What's wrong with you? I don't want to say it, George said unhappily. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Adam laughed. Who said that is a puppy? George was blocked by a word, and his face turned red. If he didn't want to say it, he could just stay alone and be angry silently. Why did he come here and make all kinds of noises to attract Adam's attention? Isn't it because he wants to talk? Haha. Bianca laughed. George, what's wrong? I will move out of Meredith's house when I go back tonight, George said angrily. Why? Bianca asked curiously. What did she do to you? She is too much, George said aggrievedly. Even if I, George O'Malley, am not as good as Shept, I am only not as good as him now. I will not be worse than him in the future, and I am devoted to her. Then what? Bianca asked. I thought about it last night and decided to go back to accompany her. I remember Adam said something about Meredith after getting drunk. George said. I'm not. I didn't. Don't talk nonsense. Adam's mouth twitched and he interrupted immediately. Damn it. If this word gets out, anyone will want to try it in the future. The Hulk version of Dr. Shept will probably beat him to death. Anyway, I thought about telling the truth after drinking, so I went back, George said. At the beginning, she was very enthusiastic about me, and we directly found a ward. You did it? Bianca gossiped. George said angrily. Everything was so beautiful, but when I looked up, I found that she was in tears, as if she was in pain and discomfort. Your thinking is so unique. Adam couldn't help it, and complained. Under normal circumstances, these should not be tears of happiness, but the greatest affirmation of your masculine charm. And even if they are sad tears, So what? She has just suffered such a big blow. She has never had anything to do with you before. It's just an impulse after being drunk. Isn't it normal to cry sadly? You are just a tool who happened to be there. How dare you bring up who she loves more, and you are so angry about it? Who gave you the courage? George was stunned. P.S. Thanks to Msalaying for the reward. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385 Whose Tears Are Flying? Medical Center. Self-service restaurant. Adam asked this, and George was stunned, crying in an indescribable process. There is happiness and pain, but no matter which one, he shouldn't be angry. I'm not a tool. After a brief absence, George retorted, Meredith and I have an emotional foundation. She chose me, which is proof. Otherwise, why didn't she choose you? Puff. Bianca burst out laughing. Adam's mouth twitched. You are really selectively blind. If I hadn't ignored her and didn't respond to her, I wouldn't have to worry about which one it was like you. There must be more complex, three-dimensional and vivid emotions. After the meal, Adam paused when he passed by the ward, because the patient inside was openly mocking Meredith. What is it like to steal someone else's husband? What did you say? Meredith couldn't believe that the patient also started to mock her. I didn't say you. The female patient said this, but her tone and expression were clearly saying, I'm talking about you little bitches who stole other people's husbands. Jeff lived with the long-legged woman who answered the phone for him when I was only 3 weeks pregnant. I gave him twins, but he abandoned me and our children for that bitch. Meredith didn't say anything, silently applying gel coupling agent on the pregnant woman's belly. It's too cold. The pregnant woman couldn't help but scream. I'm sorry. Meredith thought for a moment and apologized. I'm sorry about your husband. Would you also feel sorry for Dr. Montgomery Shep's husband? The pregnant woman didn't appreciate it and directly poked Meredith's heart. Dr. Shep's wife, whose full name is Addison Montgomery Shep. Her original surname was Montgomery, and after marrying Dr. Shep, she added her husband's surname to her name. But both of them are famous doctors in their respective fields. Addison always asks others to call her Dr. Montgomery to distinguish her from her husband and highlight her independence and ability. I'll do some more tests for you. Meredith was stunned for a long time before she suppressed her frustration and anger and said expressionlessly, I guess it was Dr. Montgomery who asked you to work with her. The pregnant woman had no intention of letting Meredith go. She regarded Meredith as the culprit who destroyed her family and said sarcastically, if it were me, I would do the same. I'll get your examination report. Meredith stood up directly, left a word, and left, because she suspected that if she stayed any longer, she would not be able to control herself. In the corridor, don't think too much, at least it's not your fault in this matter. Adam comforted. It's my fault. Meredith said expressionlessly, if I wasn't blind, how could I have not discovered that he would be such a scumbag for so long? So it's all my own fault. After saying that, she turned around and left. Adam shook his head and went to Green's clinic to check. Seeing that nothing was wrong, he went to the emergency room. With Xuni and Leonard's care, and his own skills recognized by Leonard, Burke, and Shep, the three attending doctors, he actually had a high degree of freedom, and became more and more like a resident doctor, not an intern. Afternoon, time to get off work. Emergency room. What's the situation? Multiple gunshot wounds. Pulse 150. Pulse disorder. Blood pressure 50. We opened 2 infusion lines, but the blood pressure is still dropping. Call Dr. Green. Go to operating room number 4. Adam pushed the trolley to the operating room. Prepare 6 units of O-type blood. Operating room number 4. Blood pressure cannot be monitored. The nurse reminded. Capillary return is abnormal. He is losing blood. Prepare a pressure belt transfusion. Adam calmly commanded. Give me bilateral chest tubes. Prepare to turn over. After turning over, Adam saw the gunshot wound on his back. His eyes narrowed, and he ordered, call Dr. Green again. Yes, doctor, the nurse responded and left. What's going on? After a while, Leonard changed into surgical gown and hurried over. Young man, he was shot several times in the back, but there were no wounds. He has bilateral hemorrhages. 1 liter of blood has been drawn from the left chest, and the breathing sounds on both sides have weakened. The breathing tubes are being sutured. Adam introduced quickly while doing the sutures. Oh, God. Leonard took a look at the wound and couldn't help but say, was he shot by a cannon? After saying that, he took the X-ray film handed over by the nurse and scanned it. There is a bullet in the right ventricle. Pericardial tamponade, Dr. Green. Adam reminded. Open the chest immediately. Leonard ordered. Thoracotomy tools. The surgical nurse immediately handed it over. Leonard skillfully cut open the chest. Heart arrest, tachycardia, 140, fast heartbeat, no blood pressure. The nurse reminded. Dilator. Leonard ordered. Adam took it from the nurse and skillfully used the dilator to open the incision to provide Leonard with a larger surgical field of view. Prepare 10 more units of O-type blood. Leonard instructed while performing the operation. Adam, prepare for cardiopulmonary bypass. Yes, doctor. Adam agreed and took action immediately, still decisive and efficient. But a strange emotion rose in his heart, because if he guessed correctly, this patient would be the first patient who died in his hands after he tried to rescue him and still couldn't save him after the operation. No other reason. The injury was too serious. Leonard obviously knew this, otherwise he wouldn't have blurted out that the wound was hit by a cannon. Now it's just a matter of doing everything humanly possible and leaving it to fate. Facts have proved that Adam's premonition was accurate. After half an hour of rescue, the patient died on the operating table. Doctors are not God after all. Adam sighed in his heart. After sewing up the surgical incision, he left the operating room. The police had come and asked some basic information. Adam also learned about the incident from them. The deceased was an innocent passerby. When passing by a small hotel of the fighting nation, he unfortunately encountered a bullet exchange between an African robber and the store owner. The store owner of the fighting nation shot the African robber to death on the spot. However, almost all the bullets of the African robber hit the back of the innocent unlucky passerby. Adam hated this very much, because people who have not practiced much and dare to go out to rob with a gun are far more dangerous than those who have practiced. If Adam were this passerby, he might not be shot. After all, who would have thought that he was clearly exchanging bullets with the store owner? But almost all the bullets flew to the other side. Adam could even simulate in his mind the scene of the African robber turning around, swinging his arms and firing continuously. It is simply impossible to defend against it. This is terrible. Nurse's station. What is this? Adam looked at a bloody gift box. Is it the remains of the deceased? Yes. The nurse nodded. Have you contacted the family of the deceased? Adam asked. I just found his registered emergency contact and am contacting him, the nurse said while dialing the phone. Adam couldn't help but pick up the paper on the gift box. It said, "This way you will have accompaniment when you sing at breakfast. Love you, Max." Alas, another kind and innocent passerby. This is the third one Adam has met in just over 2 months. Who is crying this time? The call was connected, and the nurse immediately said professionally, "Hello, this is New York Medical Center. Are you Miss Tracy McConnell?" Chapter 386 Rose Life Medical Center. In the hallway, Meredith and Liz were leaning against the wall, sitting on the gurney. Their eyes were dazed, and they were both in a low mood. Adam came over. "Meredith, did you do TTTS this afternoon?" TTTS, twin transfusion syndrome. Conjoined twins are connected by blood vessels in the placenta. One fetus gets too much blood, the other gets too little, and both fetuses are in danger. From this point of view, Sheldon often complains that he should have killed his twin sister Missy when he was in his mother's belly, which is actually very problematic, because it's not about whether he can beat Missy. Most likely he can't. A kick in the balls can teach Sheldon a lesson. If he gets a disease like TTTS, he wants to absorb more nutrients, and maybe Missy and he will die together. It is extremely difficult to separate the blood vessels of twin fetuses, so TTTS is generally untreatable unless you meet a top obstetrician and gynecologist. The reason why Shep's wife, Dr. Montgomery, was invited by the chief of surgery, Richard, is that the chief of surgery knows that Shept is having an affair with Grey's Anatomy. He is the boss and doesn't like this kind of behavior that violates the hospital regulations. Moreover, Dr. Montgomery is also his good friend. He doesn't want the Shepters to divorce, so he invites Dr. Montgomery to persuade and restrain Dr. Shept. On the other hand, the hospital has admitted this pregnant woman with TTTS. Dr. Montgomery is the best in this field. It is his duty to introduce more excellent doctors to the hospital and general surgery. When Dr. Shept questioned him, he had a legitimate reason. Business is business. Do it. Meredith didn't have the joy of participating in this level of surgery. What a waste. If it was Adam, he had intimate contact with the beautiful wife of a famous doctor without knowing it. And this famous doctor just gave him a rare high-level surgery and insisted that Adam participate. Then he just wanted to say, "Please give me a dozen of this." Then what? Adam suppressed his complaints and asked, "Tell me about the details of the operation." "You only focus on the details of the operation," Liz interrupted. "Don't you know Meredith's situation? Don't you care about her feelings?" "Okay, my mistake." Adam admitted his mistake decisively and asked with concern, "Meredith, how did you feel during the operation? What actions did Dr. Montgomery take? How did you feel about each action?" Liz's face darkened. "I'm fine." Meredith tried to be strong. "I'm fine." "That's good." Adam nodded, and then asked seriously, "Is this what you felt when Dr. Montgomery did something?" "Well, I know, it should be during the operation, right?" Meredith couldn't even hold back her forced smile. Although the pregnant woman had ridiculed her in various ways and slapped her in the face, she would not feel the pleasure of revenge because of Montgomery's operation. "Okay, don't ask me how I feel. I'll just tell you the details of the operation." Meredith saw that Adam was about to ask again, and was afraid that he would ask questions that would challenge her nerves, so she interrupted him and began to describe the details of the operation in detail. "First, we did a laparoscopy, and started with a 3mm incision with a thin blade. The operation was very successful. Do you know how I felt at the time? Looking at her so focused, I forgot that she was Shep's wife, my rival in love. I forgot the hostility and just stared at her in a daze. I remembered what my aunt used to tell me, that everything was the fault of men and their brothers, not us women. Never. Haha." Adam was satisfied after listening to the detailed details of the operation, and then he couldn't help laughing when he heard what Meredith said. "What are you laughing at?" Meredith said dissatisfiedly. "Isn't it the fault of you men and your brothers?" "That's not what I'm laughing at." Adam laughed. "I think you stared at her like this, and were completely moved by her concentration, and you said it was all men's fault, not you women's, and it will never be? Could it be that you have awakened the lily soul? If so, in fact, if you get rid of Dr. Shept and live together, it will definitely be a legend." "I think it's okay," Liz echoed. "Men are unreliable, otherwise there wouldn't be so many lesbians now." Adam glanced at her and thought, is this a common hatred of the enemy, or is Alex preparing to be a woman, so Liz is paving the way for lesbians in advance? "I just admire her authoritative technology." Meredith shook her head and said, "And her courage." "Courage?" Adam was surprised. "Why?" "After the operation, the patient Mrs. Phillips directly tore her face and didn't want to see me again," Meredith said with a complicated expression. "She didn't kick someone when they were down, but directly confronted Mrs. Phillips, saying that it wasn't my fault, and that she didn't have my grace and patience. It wasn't her husband who cheated on me, but she cheated first, and that Mrs. Phillips should apologize to me." "Did she really say that?" Liz was also extremely surprised. "Yes." Meredith nodded. "TSK. There's something about this red-haired female doctor." Adam sighed. "So are they divorced?" Liz asked puzzled. "I don't know." Meredith was at a loss. "Definitely not." Adam analyzed. If they were divorced, how could this happen? Judging from the existing information, it is most likely that Dr. Shept discovered that his wife cheated on him, and in anger, he left directly, and Dr. Montgomery came more than 2 months later, probably waiting for Dr. Shept to calm down and start over. "Then what is Meredith?" Liz said indignantly. "She should be a tool to appease Dr. Shept," Adam said seriously. "Otherwise, no, Most women would never treat their husband's lover like this. There was another sentence he didn't say. Meredith should know best, because no one knows how to use tools better than her. Meredith was stunned. She became a tool? At this moment, a pleasant melody came in from the window. Someone was plucking the strings. Stay close to me, you blow softly in my ear. Life is as fragrant as a rose. You and I kiss deeply and the sky is sad, eyes closed and heart drunk. Life is as fragrant as a rose. When you come into my heart, happiness is like spring water. Roses bloom everywhere, you whisper softly, and angels fly high. Daily gossips also float like love songs. Please accompany me with your body and soul. Life will always be as fragrant as a rose. The song La Vie en Rose is sung with dares and complaints. Everyone who hears it stops and closes their mouths to listen carefully. The infectious sadness in the female voice is shocking. Adam was just a little absent-minded. Meredith and Liz were already in tears. Chapter 387. Let me come to the window. A song of La Vie en Rose was played over and over again. Meredith and Liz had already burst into tears. Adam was also quite sad. The infectious power of music is sometimes so strong. Yes, without this power, how can those invincible people really be invincible? It started to drizzle outside. Adam subconsciously stood up and prepared to take an umbrella to send it over, because he had guessed who was playing outside the window. At this time and place, there was absolutely no one else except Miss Tracy McConnell. Get out of the way, get out of the way. At this time, a figure ran over and kept shouting, "Ted?" Adam said in surprise. Ted, who was running, ignored Adam at all and flashed past Adam and ran to the outside of the hospital. Did something happen? Adam was startled and hurriedly ran over. He caught up with Ted in 3 or 2 steps. "Ted, what happened?" Adam and Ted ran side by side, asking without blushing or panting, "It's okay, don't follow me." Ted saw this, waving his hands in panic and speeding up. At this time, they were already outside the hospital. Could it be? Adam saw a small figure in the direction Ted was running, and he couldn't help but stop his steps. He already had a guess in his heart. In the rain, under the corner of the hospital, a small figure put a small guitar into the guitar case and held it in his arms. This time, he no longer plucked the strings and used singing to convey sadness, but began to cry wantonly in the sound of the pattering rain. Ted ran over, took off his coat, propped it on the head of the small figure, silently helped her to shield her from the wind and rain, and let the rain drip without saying a word. The small figure didn't care about anything in the outside world at all, just venting his emotions wantonly, as if he was competing with God to see who was more sad. Adam stood in the distance, watching this scene, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. This damn tenderness and romance. The temperament that Ted possessed was very confusing. He always showed unexpected and touching tenderness and romance at critical moments. Just like now, Adam had to admit this. But the reason why critical moments are critical moments is because they are rare. Most of life is not critical moments. Therefore, after a period of time, Ted's scumbag will be unconsciously exposed, deeply hurting the woman who was conquered by his tenderness and romance. Although he didn't know why Ted was here. Was he here to cause trouble for him or to see Barney? But Adam guessed that Ted was probably moved by Tracy McConnell's sincere and incomparable sadness, which led to the scene of running to shelter from the rain. Should he stop it? Adam hesitated. The piano is the voice of the heart. Miss Tracy McConnell can play to this extent, which shows the deep feeling she has for her boyfriend Max, which is touching. This is definitely a girl who can't be better. She has suffered such a heavy blow. Is she going to suffer a second blow from Ted? Thinking so in his heart, Adam couldn't take the step to stop it. How can he stop it? Let me do it. Time passed by minute by minute. Ted was soaked in the rain. Tracy finally stopped crying, wiped the tears from her face, glanced at Ted, thanked him softly, and walked out. "I'll take you there." Ted held up his coat, followed her, and even shielded her from the rain. "Thank you, but it's okay." Tracy's voice was very soft, but the determination in it stunned Ted. Ted could only hold up his coat and stand there blankly, watching Tracy disappear in the rain. "Go back, don't get wet in the rain." Adam stood under the eaves and reminded loudly. Ted ignored him and just stood there stupidly watching. Adam was speechless, thought about it, and ignored it. Romance is all about water. It's also a basic operation for a romantic person to get wet in the rain. He said it, that is willing to get wet, so let him get wet. It's also a good thing for a girl like this to stay away from Ted and him. Back to the corridor. Meredith, who was crying just now, has left. Only Liz is crying silently. Where's Meredith? Adam asked. She went to Shep to ask for clarification. Liz whispered, who was that just now? Adam told her about Tracy. Liz burst into tears again. Adam grinned. What's going on? Giabaoyu, who loved to eat the rouge from the maids' mouths when he was a child, said since he was a child, women are made of water. It really makes sense. He wanted to leave directly, but still asked politely, Liz, are you okay? No. Liz choked. Oh. Adam was secretly happy and was about to walk away. Alex is very uncomfortable. Liz still couldn't help but enter the confession mode. Adam's mouth twitched, thinking that the psychological research of the descendants of the Sunflower Manual is also a science. So he stayed. How is he? He's leaving, Liz said with tears in her eyes. He said he couldn't stay here any longer. He couldn't accept the way everyone looked at him. But I really didn't look down on him. Adam listened quietly. He learned about Alex's condition in the past few days from Liz. Because the beautiful young woman's husband was an accurate shooter, and because of the timely rescue and clean incision, Alex's health improved quickly. In the future, except for the need to squat to urinate, the rest should not be a big problem. But he probably can't be a doctor, because the new urethra is artificial. It is a wound and is particularly prone to infection. It's not suitable for him to enter a sterile operating room. In fact, even if he can continue to be a doctor, Alex probably won't stay in the medical center. This is his sad place. There are so many familiar faces. Unless he is mentally strong enough, he can't stand the difference between before and after. Because even if others don't think too much, Alex himself will be worried. Leaving here, going to a new place where no one knows him, and starting over is a good choice. Adam was about to give a polite word of advice, but his eyes suddenly fixed and he looked out the window. He saw a staggering figure in the rain walking towards the hospital from the bar opposite. With his eyesight, he recognized that person at a glance. Joe? Adam ran to the hospital entrance again. Kai. Just as Adam was about to meet Joe, a car running sideways on the road swung its tail like a dragon, and the tires made a harsh friction sound. Rushing straight towards the hospital without any intention of slowing down, Joe had a physical problem and staggered. There was no time to dodge. Be careful. When the car drifted and rushed towards him without slowing down, Adam entered the bullet time. He calculated instantly and found that with his speed, he could save Joe before the car hit him. So he immediately accelerated, pulled up Joe with a powerful force, and narrowly avoided the impact of the car, and the car crashed straight into the hospital. P.S. Thanks to the book friend 20170731201140907 for the reward. Chapter 388 Human Tragedy Medical Center. At the door, a car crashed directly in. Put your hands up. The armed security guards rushed over quickly. A shooting incident happened a few days ago, and the security guards were very alert and reacted very quickly. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. I'm a pizza delivery man. I've been stabbed. I'm dying. I need medical emergency. A man's panicked cry came from the car. Adam heard this when he helped Joe in and glanced at Joe. Go. I'm fine. Joe has been running a bar opposite the hospital for more than 10 years. Even if he doesn't know anything, he listens to the medical staff bragging and farting every day, and he is very clear about some of the hospital's conditions and the doctor's minds. He walked over by himself, and this pizza man who was shouting that he was stabbed and dying and needed to have surgery immediately was obviously a higher priority than him. Mary. Adam called the nurse. Hi, Joe. Hi, Mary. Nurse Mary came over immediately, took over Joe, and greeted him familiarly. Obviously, she was also a frequent visitor to Joe's bar. Where was you stabbed? Adam walked over and looked at the young pizza guy in the driver's seat, but he didn't find any signs of heavy bleeding after being stabbed, so he asked. Side. The pizza guy shouted in fear and anger. I was just delivering pizza, and they stabbed me. I'm going to die. The nurse also pushed the trolley over at this time. Relax. I'm a doctor. I'm here to help you. Adam comforted. Listen, Now I have to carry you out first, and then I can help you with rescue. So don't struggle to prevent the wound from getting bigger. Do you understand?" "Understood," the pizza guy shouted. Adam reached out and took him out of the driver's seat and put him on the trolley. "Operating room number 5 has been booked. Do you need to prepare for peritoneal lavage?" The experienced nurse prepared according to the routine procedures and asked. "No need. Cancel the operating room." Adam looked at the right waist and abdomen area pointed by the pizza boy before, shook his head and said, "Get some disinfectant and band-aids." "What's wrong?" The pizza boy was still in extreme panic. Seeing that Adam and the others were not moving, he immediately yelled, "Why didn't you save me?" The nurse was also confused. "Does your head hurt?" "No." "Does your chest hurt?" "No." "Does your neck hurt?" "No." "What are you doing?" "Then do you hurt anywhere?" "I don't know. It's just a scratch," Adam reminded. "Abrasion?" The pizza boy was stunned, stood up and looked there, and saw a red mark there. Although the red mark was long, there was no blood. Seeing that everyone was looking at him speechlessly, the pizza boy was a little embarrassed, raised his hand and swore, "That was a very, very big knife." "I believe it." Adam nodded. Delivering pizza in New York, especially at night, should be knowledgeable. Those small daggers that are carried with you are probably seen every 2 or 3 days. But this pizza guy was frightened to such an extent that he drove fast without even braking, crashing into the door, yelling that he was dying. If it wasn't a machete, it would be incredible. It's estimated that even if it wasn't a 50-meter machete, it wouldn't be much different. Of course, there is another possibility, that is, the pizza guy was too timid, and the first time he was stabbed, the small dagger directly enlarged into a 50-meter machete in his eyes. And after he was frightened, he reacted too quickly and ran 49.999 meters first, which is why he was almost scratched by the 50-meter machete. This kind of excellence is far better than their younger generation, the pizza guy Glenn, who only lived for 6 seasons in The Walking Dead. "I'm fine." At this time, the pizza guy, who had completely calmed down, touched it with great joy. "Not necessarily. Is there insurance?" Adam pouted at the entire car that crashed into him. "No." The pizza guy looked in the direction Adam was looking, and then screamed like a pig being slaughtered. Looking at his appearance, Adam knew that he must be in pain now. After leaving this joke to the nurse, Adam went to see Joe. "What's wrong?" Adam asked. "No." Joe was entangled and said, "I just fainted suddenly just now. Maybe it's low blood sugar." "Come on," Adam advised. "I know you don't like to come here, but since you're here, you still have to say what you need to say, and you still have to receive treatment if you need it." "The treatment here is too expensive," Joe complained. "Just a few tests, and I have worked for several months in vain. It's simply robbing money. Anyway, I have bought medical insurance." Adam just said one sentence, and immediately reacted, and said in surprise, "Don't tell me you didn't buy medical insurance." "I run my own shop, a small business. Where do I get the money to buy medical insurance?" Joe laughed at himself. "Besides, I'm in good health. I have no illness or pain in these years. It's such a waste to spend so much money every year that I don't use it at all. You do business with us medical staff every day, and we support you every night, but you don't intend to take care of our business at all?" Adam joked. "Or, if you have any minor problems, just find a doctor in the bar and save the cost of going to the outpatient clinic." "I also treated them to a drink," Joe said embarrassedly. "Haha." Adam couldn't help laughing. As expected, live by the mountain, eat by the mountain, live by the sea, eat by the sea. Joe relied on the hospital, talked to the doctors and nurses every day, and even saved the outpatient fees. He was really thrifty. If it weren't for this convenience, Adam would never believe that Joe dared to be so confident and not buy medical insurance for more than 10 years. Even if there is no serious illness, there will always be minor illnesses and disasters. Once you encounter one, you can't afford to see a doctor without medical insurance. The doctor who comes to the bar can see you for free, but you have to buy the medicine yourself. The price of medicine in the United States is very expensive. Of course, it is completely different from the medicine used for treatment in the hospital. Take a common Tylenol painkiller. It costs 8 cents a pill in the pharmacy outside, but it costs $15 a pill in the hospital. A gap of 187.5 times. A glimpse of the whole picture. This is also the reason why Joe is extremely resistant to going to the hospital. Not only Joe. At the beginning, Joey didn't have a movie to shoot for a while, and his medical insurance was cut off. As a result, he got a hernia and was in so much pain, but he insisted on finding a job to renew his medical insurance before going to the hospital for treatment. Without medical insurance, I really don't dare to get sick, because any visit to the doctor may make you bankrupt. It's a real tragedy of living but losing money. Adam's face became serious. Since Joe knows this very well, he knows his own body. If it wasn't for the last resort, would he come here? Thinking of this, Adam began to check carefully. Call Dr. Shept, Adam told the nurse. Dr. Shept? Joe was shocked. Is my condition serious? How could he not know the name of Dr. Shept, the attending neurosurgeon of the medical center? You need Dr. Shept to see it before you know. Adam comforted. Lie down and rest first. Joe's face turned pale. He had heard all kinds of legends about Adam and knew that he couldn't treat Adam as an intern. But because he knew it, he was more desperate. How he hoped that Adam was just an ordinary intern, or even a doctor like Alex who came to the bar every night to punch in and report. In that case, it might be a misjudgment. Instead of being sentenced to death penalty like now. Chapter 389. Are you a human? Medical Center. Dr. Duncan, Dr. Shept wants to see you. The nurse called with the phone. Okay. Adam smiled at Joe, walked out of the ward, went to the nurse's station, and took the phone from the nurse. On the other end of the phone, Dr. Shept was obviously in a bad mood. But it was not surprising. His wife suddenly came, his lover fell out with him, and Dr. Burke bypassed him to become the acting chief of surgery. This mess would make anyone feel bad. Adam described the preliminary examination. First do a court scan. You will be responsible for the care at night. Call me again if the condition worsens. If the condition does not worsen, I will go to see it tomorrow morning. Dr. Shept quickly explained and hung up the phone. Adam had sharp ears. The moment he hung up the phone, he clearly heard Meredith's slightly sharp voice. You are ruthless, you are shameless, and you are unreasonable. You are not ruthless, shameless, or unreasonable, and other melodramatic lines flashed in Adam's mind. Joe, we still need to take a court scan first. Adam walked into the ward and said to Joe, who was looking at him eagerly. Okay. This time, Joe didn't say anything. Feeling the approach of death, he was willing to pay the money. This is the reason why the medical industry dares to charge huge profits. If you don't do the examination, you won't be treated. If you don't get treated, you will die. Do it or not. Adam took Joe to do a court scan himself. If nothing unexpected happens, Joe will have a major operation. All interns like this. Adam. Ted? In the corridor, he ran into Ted, who was in a hurry. I want to ask you something, Ted said anxiously. I'm at work. Let's talk after I get off work. Adam guessed his purpose and said perfunctorily, I can't wait until then. Ted was passionate. It's okay. I don't mind. Joe, lying on the gurney, showed a kind smile. Adam glanced at him and understood his entanglement. That was the fear of the test results. It should feel good to have a legitimate reason to delay it a little longer. Go ahead. Adam kept walking. Doctors and patients have different ideas. Naturally, the earlier the diagnosis, the more beneficial it is for treatment. Remember the girl outside just now? Ted asked anxiously. Do you have her contact information? No. Adam thought to himself that it was true, but he still said it without hesitation. Ted stared at Adam. The nurse said that you rescued her boyfriend. If you want to know her phone number, you need your approval. Obviously, he had already asked at the nurse station. However, the hospital regulations did not allow the disclosure of patient information to outsiders, so he ran to Adam. Excuse me, who are you to her? Adam smiled. Don't. Ted paused. Adam spread his hands and continued to push Joe to the courtroom. Ted stood there for a moment, then chased after him and pleaded, Adam, I have a feeling that she is my soulmate, the future Mrs. Ted Mosby. Hey, that sounds so familiar. Adam sneered. Did someone say that? Oh, I remember. Lily told me that someone saw Robin a few days ago and said the same thing. So the question is, are you going to immigrate to the Middle East? Otherwise, where do so many soulmates, the future Mrs. Ted Mosby's, come from? Robin is different from her. Ted squinted at Adam. As for why they are different, you should know best. Robin was originally his blue trumpet, but now it is probably not. Adam was stunned. What does this have to do with him? So, give me her contact information. This is the best outcome for both of us. Ted's smile was complicated. At the party last night, he was so casual, but what he waited for was such a casual result. When he heard that Robin chased Adam away, his heart was broken. He wanted to blame Adam, but Matthew and Lily both supported Adam. Moreover, Adam was willing to leave alone in advance, and he did fulfill his friend's obligations. Matthew and Lily's persuasion also shocked him greatly. He said he disliked Barney in various ways, and was half-hearted about Barney's various crazy behaviors, but he himself became more and more like Barney. After thinking all night, he still ran to the hospital to see Barney after get off work today, wanting to verify from Barney's mouth whether the shock Matthew and Lily brought to him was right or not. Should he change? Then he heard La Vie en Rose. As a man who likes bands and has a lot of experience in music, he was instantly shocked by the infectiousness of the song. When La Vie en Rose was sung over and over again and stopped abruptly, he suddenly realized that his mind was full of this affectionate and sad female voice. Robin's figure had long been blurred. This female singer who had never seen before gradually had an outline. Then the romantic attribute broke out completely, and he had a premonition that this was his true love. So there was the previous scene of running wildly to shelter from the rain, and when he saw the small figure crying wantonly in the rain, he knew that this was his true home without telling his friends. Sorry. Adam still shook his head. Come on, Ted begged. I'm serious. You know why she came to the hospital, right? Adam looked at him strangely. You should have heard her deep affection and sadness, right? Her beloved boyfriend just passed away, and you immediately went to pursue her. Are you a human being? Ted was stunned and said awkwardly, I didn't say I would pursue her immediately. I just don't want to miss it. I can wait silently by her side. In this case, she shouldn't change her phone number for the time being. Adam smiled and said, if you really want to wait silently, you don't need to be by her side. We can decide whether to contact her in half a year. Half a year? Ted screamed. Is there a problem? Adam said contemptuously. Can't your so-called true love withstand half a year of waiting? Or do you look down on her? Do you think her sadness will not last for half a year, and she will soon let go of her beloved boyfriend and happily throw herself into your arms? Ted choked. What could he say? It seemed that Adam had said all the truths. Hey, something seems to be wrong. No, Ted reacted and said angrily. There is no us. You are not allowed to touch her. It depends on your performance. Adam smiled and said, if your feelings do not change within half a year, then there will be no us, only you. But if your feelings change within half a year and you have other feelings, then I can only apologize. A girl like her should stay away from people like us. People like us? Are we the same people? How dare you say that? Ted's mouth twitched, thought about it, gritted his teeth and said, that's it. But you must not contact her alone. Don't worry. Adam smiled meaningfully. Deep down in my heart, I am more inclined to the second one. Girls like this should stay away from us. Ted was speechless. Can you please stop talking about us? It scares me when I hear it. Chapter 390 The advantages that I got Ted away. Adam took Joe to get a court scan. How is it? Joe looked nervously at Adam, who was looking at the court scan. Be hospitalized first? Dr. Shep will be here tomorrow. Adam was interrupted by Joe before he finished speaking. Just tell me. I believe your diagnosis. Joe's face was pale. In the United States, not all diseases can be hospitalized. In order to improve the rotation efficiency of hospital beds and ensure a higher profit margin for individual wards, American hospitals will not hospitalize patients if they can avoid it. If you are hospitalized for surgery, you can rest for a few days before being discharged. Barney should have been discharged long ago, but he was in a VIP ward and had to pay a lot of money every day, so the hospital did not drive him away. Joe knew how high the hospitalization fee was, but at this moment he no longer cared, and his mind was full of the meaning of hospitalization. From the court scan, the artery at the base of your skull is swollen like a balloon, and there is subarachnoid hemorrhage. The aneurysm is very large, and the operation will be very difficult. Adam explained, but don't worry, Dr. Shept is a top doctor in this field. I believe he will give you a feasible surgical plan. Joe was silent for a long time before he said in a hoarse voice, "How much will it cost?" "I don't know." Adam shook his head. "It is impossible to estimate the cost of treatment before the surgical plan is out, and even if the surgical plan is out, the cost will not be determined until the operation is completed. You should know this. In the United States, treatment is given first. After the treatment is over and 2 months after discharge, the hospital bill will be sent. This is the most exciting moment. It perfectly interprets the meaning of seeing heaven and hell at one glance. The hospital bill includes all the expenses of your hospitalization, and many times it will exceed your extreme expectations. For example, you think you may have a heavy bleeding and have to pay tens of thousands of US dollars, but out of psychological preparation for high medical expenses, the extreme expectation is hundreds of thousands of US dollars. But the fact is that the bill sent by the hospital is not tens of thousands, nor hundreds of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, but more than 1 million. Is it surprising? Are you surprised? People with poor health or poor mental quality may be frightened to the point of having a stroke or cerebral hemorrhage. Americans with an average annual income of more than $30,000, who are almost all moonlighters, have to pay off this bill of more than $1 million without eating or drinking for 30 to 40 years. Even if they pay in installments, paying $20,000 a year, it will take more than 50 years. By then, you will be an 80-year-old man delivering express every day and still paying the bill. As for not paying it back, the hospital will definitely sue you. First, you will have nothing, and then you will be tarnished in credit and cut off from society. You have no control over such exciting things, because as long as you want to live and receive treatment, you must follow the hospital's procedures. If you need to take a court scan, take a court scan. If you need to do an MRI, do an MRI. If you need to do this minor surgery first, do this minor surgery first. Don't worry so much. Think about something happy. Your case is not a difficult and complicated disease, so you don't need to go to the Princeton University Hospital next door to see Dr. House. Adam comforted. This is indeed good news. Joe smiled bitterly. He had also heard the legend of Dr. House next door. When faced with difficult and complicated diseases, Dr. House would do tests and drug experiments over and over again. Before the diagnosis was confirmed, not only did he have to endure Dr. House's sharp tongue, but he also had to undergo various tests. Even before the condition worsened, Dr. House's drugs would toss half of his life away. Some tests are still invasive, and the damage to the body caused by medication is also permanent and irreversible. If you are lucky enough to be cured, after returning home, you will not only have to endure the sequelae of treatment, but the key is to receive the long bill, which will make you doubt your life and even feel that you should die early and be reborn early. Of course, if you think of Dr. House's sharp-tongued attitude at this time, the patient or the patient's family may kill Dr. House first. It can only be said that it is a miracle that Dr. House can live well over the years. Therefore, it is better to diagnose any disease, even cancer, than to have an undiagnosed difficult and complicated disease. Observing that Joe's condition was temporarily stable and there was no trend of deterioration, Adam arranged for Joe to be hospitalized and stayed on duty to take care of Joe. Joe's aneurysm is too big and in a bad position, so there is almost no way to clamp it. This is the biggest difficulty of the operation. Adam can think of only one cutting-edge method: static surgery. First, freeze Joe's body temperature, stop Joe's heartbeat, drain Joe's blood, and put Joe in a state of suspended animation. At this time, Joe's brain blood supply will also stop, and the risk of brain aneurysm rupture will be minimized. As long as the operation is completed after 45 minutes and the heartbeat is restored, the operation will be successful. Although this operation is performed by Dr. Shept, Dr. Burke will most likely be invited to assist in the operation of drawing blood from the heart. Meredith is now in a big fight with Dr. Shept, and Christina, who was infatuated by Dr. Burke, is also recuperating. It can be said that almost no one will compete with him for this operation. Although it is a bit bad, Adam is in a very good mood. This is a doctor's pursuit of medical skills. And he and Joe are just nodding acquaintances, not even friends. The next day, early in the morning, Adam was ready to cooperate with Dr. Shep's examination of Joe. But Dr. Shep hadn't come yet. But someone he didn't want to see now showed up. "Christina, why are you here?" "I'm fine, so of course I have to come to work," Christina said with a half smile. "You're not welcome? Do you have any good surgery? Have you told Dr. Burke?" Adam smiled calmly. "It's better to make it clear about this kind of thing." Christina's face darkened. She was also a genius wolf destroyer, and she quickly reacted from this negative emotion and smiled. "I'll go to Burke right now. I want to see what surgery you care so much about. Let me make it clear, although I'm very grateful to you, I won't give up the surgery." As he said that, he turned and walked towards Dr. Burke's office. "Let me make it clear, no back doors allowed. Fair competition." Adam complained to her back. This kind of cutting-edge joint surgery requires not only strong skills, but also time. Leonard, the best candidate in Adam's mind, has no problem with his skills, but his speed is not as fast as Dr. Burke, who is in his prime. Once a cardiothoracic surgery expert is invited, even if they have some conflicts over the issue of acting chief of surgery, Dr. Shep will most likely choose Dr. Burke. And once Dr. Burke is confirmed, Adam will be at a disadvantage. He does have a favor with Dr. Burke, but it is obviously not as good as the identity of Christina's lover. Fortunately, Meredith will not interfere again, and he still has a favor with Dr. Shep. In addition, he is Joe's ward doctor and the best intern. He should have a chance to crush Christina. Well, the advantage is mine. P.S. Thank you Shan Shui Zong Xiang Fing Jun for the reward. Chapter 391 Greedy Snake Adam, Medical Center. It turns out that Adam's diagnosis and guess were completely correct. After all, the treatment plans for various diseases in modern medicine are written in various medical books. As long as you are knowledgeable enough, nothing can surprise you. "Ward, you want to kill me first and then revive me?" Joe heard Dr. Shep's introduction to the immobilization surgery and joked, "Within 45 minutes, if it's overtime, can it be free?" "No," Christina said subconsciously. That's right, she was there too, and she was with Dr. Burke. Dr. Shep finally chose Dr. Burke as the cardiothoracic surgery expert to assist in the operation. "Dr. Yang, you can go for the preoperative examination," Dr. Burke said to smooth things over. Adam raised his eyebrows and reminded him, "Dr. Burke, I am Joe's attending physician." Dr. Burke pursed his lips. Dr. Shep smiled and looked at Dr. Burke with a playful look, to see how the acting chief of surgery would deal with it. For this operation, it doesn't matter who is chosen to assist in the operation, because the protagonists are only him and Dr. Burke. The intern was just an assistant, as long as Meredith didn't do something weird like taking a nap and not cutting her nails and piercing the patient's heart. Theoretically anyone could do it. After all, it wasn't always the case that you had to hold a giant tumor for more than 10 hours. Nor was it often the case that you had to deal with an accident that even the attending doctor couldn't handle in time. But an intern could do it. He also knew why he secretly helped the chief surgeon perform the operation. But the chief surgeon stood him up and chose Dr. Burke as the acting chief surgeon, because the affair between him and Meredith was known to the chief surgeon. The chief surgeon said that he had to be upright. So was Dr. Burke so fair? He seriously doubted it. Dr. Burke had a headache. When Christina learned about the stilling operation, she came to him. He agreed without thinking much, but he never expected that Adam, who always did things properly, would openly question his decision. As the acting chief surgeon, he could let anyone participate in the operation, not to mention Adam, a small intern. He had the right to manage even Dr. Shep. However, after looking at Adam, he couldn't say the words of reprimand because he remembered Adam's favor. Because as Adam said, this was Adam's patient, and Adam didn't make any mistakes in the process of admitting and managing the patient. Normally, he shouldn't have asked Christina to do the preoperative examination and participate in the operation without Adam's permission. Thinking of the chief surgeon lying on the bed, he praised them as the same people, both of whom put work first, and seemed to be entrusting the surgery department to him. If there was no personal relationship, He would never have said that he would let Christina do the preoperative examination and participate in the operation. He couldn't go on like this. He had to put the overall situation of his career first. Dr. Duncan, you go for the preoperative examination. Dr. Burke changed his words. At the same time, he made a decision in his heart. The smile on Christina's face froze there. Sorry, everyone, I have no objection to Adam or Christina, but I haven't decided to do the operation yet. Joe said. Joe, you have to do the operation. Dr. Shept reminded. I know, Joe interrupted. If I don't have the surgery, I might die, but I need to know how much the surgery will cost first. I don't have medical insurance, and I don't want to be saved by you, but then be burdened with a huge debt that I can't pay off in my lifetime. What's the point of living like that? So give me a number. 10,000, 20,000. Dr. Shept and the others immediately stopped talking. 30,000. Joe had a premonition, but he still held on to the last glimmer of hope and only increased the price by 10,000, because $10,000 is really a lot. At least 200,000. Dr. Shept was the surgeon, and facing Joe's gaze, he could only tell the truth. At least, Dr. Burke added, because this is the cost of the surgery alone, the rest of the hospitalization, examinations, medication, and other miscellaneous expenses will not be less. Joe was stunned. 200,000 was already a heavy blow to him, and the at least behind it made him despair. He was just the owner of a small bar, and he would save on medical insurance if he could, but now he was asked to pay more than 200,000 for surgery. Where would he get so much money? Even if he sold the bar, it might not be enough. And the bar was his career and his life. What else could he do after selling it? After a while, Joe still couldn't make up his mind, and said with difficulty, I need time to think about it. Of course, everyone nodded. This is a big decision. Joe can only make it himself. Dr. Shept left first. Dr. Burke glanced at Christina and left too. Christina stood there in a daze. That's too much. I told you not to use the back door, Adam complained. I'm being too much, Christina said unhappily. You weren't originally Burke's intern, and you've already taken up all the resources at Dr. Green's. You're in the emergency department every day, and you've taken so many good cases in advance. Me, Meredith, Liz, George, and Alex used to compete for Burke's surgery. Now that Alex is gone, you keep running over to get Burke's surgery. You still have the nerve to say that I'm using a back door? I'm being too much. When have you ever seen us snatch your surgery from Dr. Green? Who's using a back door and who's being too much? Adam grinned. You can go and snatch it. It's fair competition. Christina's contemptuous look stopped him from continuing. Okay, no one is a fool. Leonard's good surgery. Even Bianca and the others can only focus on the second-level surgery. It would be in vain for them to go. How could they possibly get it? HMPH. Christina snorted coldly. You not only get the best surgery from Dr. Green, but also get the most power. This is the treatment we dream of. But not only are you not satisfied, but now you come here frequently to grab Burke and Shep's surgery. Calculate it yourself. Are you almost the only one who has taken up all the good surgeries recently? Do you still have the nerve to say that I am too much? Don't get excited. Adam was a little embarrassed. I didn't say anything. It depends on your ability. It's all fair competition. You don't know until you calculate. You will be shocked when you calculate. He seems to have really become a greedy snake. In the past 2 weeks, 80% of the good surgeries on the hands of the 3 attending doctors have been performed by him. And originally this opportunity was divided among 9 people. Although Adam's ability is worthy of this share, if it weren't for Leonard's relationship, Leonard gave him 100% of the good surgeries, he would not have such an exaggerated share. It's no wonder that Christina, who is equally motivated, is so angry. It's hard for her to endure for 2 weeks. If it were him, he would have exploded long ago. P.S. Thanks to book friends 16110605240780 and Masked Ancient Man for their rewards. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392. I jumped out. Medical Center. Ward. Christina left after complaining. Joe, when you've made up your mind, ask the nurse to call me. Adam smiled at Joe and left as well. This decision was difficult. God knows when Joe will come to his senses. Adam can't wait here forever. As for offering to pay for Joe's surgery, that's impossible. The relationship hasn't reached that point. Joe is not the innocent passerby who was hit and killed, leaving behind a widow and an orphan. And even if it was that innocent passerby, Adam helped them in a more tactful and appropriate way afterwards, without taking on too much responsibility. A little kindness, a big debt resents. This is the case in the East Country, not to mention here where money is everything. As for Joe, he considered that he might buy a stake in the bar afterwards. In this way, Joe would have money to pay the bills and continue his bar business. Of course, part of his income would have to be handed over in the future, and he would go from being a boss to a half-employee. In the past, he worked so hard but couldn't make much money. In the future, he could make a lot of money by occasionally fishing in troubled waters. Maybe Joe would like the life of a worker. It's better than selling the bar and not knowing what to do in the future. Adam, the conscience of the capitalists, had already made clear arrangements for Joe. Emergency room. Adam wandered here again, ready to see a few patients while he had time, although none of them were worth saving a life plus 0.01. Every little bit counts. Not only can it add up to a lot, but it can also improve medical skills, killing two birds with one stone. Adam, come here. Susan saw Adam. Her eyes lit up, and she waved her hand. Dr. Lewis. Adam walked over quickly. There is a male patient in clinic room 6 who keeps hiccuping. I hope a male doctor will go to see him. You go. Susan smiled a little strangely. Okay. Adam understood Susan's smile. Generally, patients with such special requirements do not want to see obvious symptoms, but rather more private ones that are difficult to say out loud. This hiccuping patient probably has a disease that he does not want a female doctor to see. For example, his brother is sick, but Adam is usually not interested in this kind of disease. But this is a doctor, and he still has to go. Clinic room 6. Mr. Brad, when did you start to hiccup? Adam asked while examining him. Hiccups. I hiccuped all day yesterday. Hiccups. Patient Brad hiccuped while speaking. Besides hiccups, do you have any other symptoms? Adam reminded. Like where you feel uncomfortable? No. Patient Brad shook his head. I just hiccup. Hiccups. That's it. Adam nodded. Then it's okay. You can go back. The hiccups will slowly disappear. Doctor, aren't you going to do anything? Patient Brad stared at Adam. You must have some treatment that can quickly eliminate hiccups. Adam's eyes condensed, and he said expressionlessly, what do you want? I saw a treatment. Patient Brad hesitated. Some doctors even won awards for this. Adam's mouth twitched. He finally understood what disease the other person had. The award-winning treatment the other person was talking about was the rectal massage method to stop hiccups. The doctor who invented this won the Nobel Prize in Medicine for this. But it was not the regular kind, but a fake funny Nobel Prize in Medicine. Adam turned and left. Doctor, patient Brad saw Adam open the door and got anxious. You haven't treated me yet. You're already well, aren't you? Adam said expressionlessly, after talking so much. Have you ever burped? Burp. Patient Brad's face froze and he burped immediately, but the implication of pretending was so obvious that he even lowered his head in embarrassment. After leaving the clinic, Adam shook his head speechlessly. Every time he thought he was well informed, the patients who came to the hospital would give him a vivid education lesson, telling him, you are too ignorant, get ready to catch your chin. There is nothing that does not exist except what you can't think of. Adam, what is the disease of the hiccup man? Susan asked with a smile when she saw Adam coming out. Liar. Adam smiled bitterly. Drug fraud? Susan showed a look of realization. The drug-taking and immortal cultivation world in the United States is extremely prosperous, and addicts really do everything to take drugs. As long as there is a little effect, they will take it. It's just like the fighting nation who have no wine to drink, so they drink shower gel, perfume, and windshield water just to satisfy their addiction. They have no money to cheat money, they have no medicine to cheat medicine, and hospitals are places they often visit. They will go to major hospitals, telling their stories over and over again, and some even do not hesitate to self-harm, just to cheat medicine from doctors. Have a good time. Sometimes you know they are cheating for medicine, but doctors can only pretend not to know, because some of their pain is real. If you don't give them medicine to treat them, it is against the law. How can doctors be nosy? Everything is done according to procedures. No, Adam shook his head. This time he didn't cheat for medicine. Even though Susan is a senior resident doctor for many years, she was stunned at this moment. It's the same old saying, in the hospital, there is always something you can't think of, and nothing that patients can't do. Adam's mouth twitched. In fact, he thought so too. Beep, beep. Just when Adam's thoughts were divergent, the pager on his waist rang. Something's going on in the ward. Adam saw it, said something to Susan, and ran to the ward area. When he arrived, Dr. Shept and Dr. Burke were already there. Christina stood aside, looking gloating. What made Adam's face change was that there was a familiar person standing next to the bed. Stephen Murphy. Joe, who was lying on the bed, saw Adam and looked apologetic. Adam had guessed what had happened. Joe has decided to have surgery and has appointed Dr. Murphy to participate in the surgery, Dr. Shept announced when everyone was present. Dr. Murphy, you can go for the preoperative examination. Dr. Burke pursed his lips and said lightly, okay. Stephen Murphy glanced at Adam, smiled slightly, and walked away. Chapter 393 The advantages in his ward. I'm sorry, Adam, Joe apologized. I didn't want to do it either, but I really can't afford so much surgery. I understand. Adam nodded and turned away. Christina caught up with him. Do you really understand? We fought for each other, but we were defeated by that super-rich second generation with money. Aren't you angry? Of course I'm angry, Adam said coldly. I understand, but it doesn't mean I accept it. If it weren't for him, Joe would have been killed by the frightened pizza guy last night. How could he have the opportunity to accept the donation from the super-rich second-generation Murphy and directly reimburse the medical expenses? Joe knew that Adam cared about this operation very much, and even competed with Christina for it, and refuted the acting chief of surgery, Dr. Burke, in person. But he didn't notify Adam in advance. Adam, who had the advantage, was directly ridden by the dragon. This is not something that can be forgiven with a sentence of sorry. I don't want to do it either. What do you want to do? Christina's gossip soul burned. Nothing, Adam said expressionlessly. Joe is a patient and has the right to designate a doctor. What can I do? I don't believe it. Christina shook her head and said, Murphy is a super-rich second generation, and you are a super-rich first generation. I don't believe you can stand this anger. You won't let me compete with Murphy for wealth, right? Adam looked at her like a fool. No, Christina paused, but I always feel that you are not such a good-tempered person. You will definitely retaliate, right? Have you sorted out the matter between you and Dr. Burke? Adam asked instead of answering. No matter how angry he was and how much he wanted to calm down, he would not shout it out to the whole hospital. That is impotent rage. Only fools will do that. Smart people should be cunning. Christina's face darkened and she turned and left. Although she was angry when Dr. Burke changed his words before, she could understand it. After all, what Adam said made sense. But she still chased Dr. Burke's office to find an explanation. If it was normal, she would not do this rationally. But is it normal now? She had just detonated the bomb that Burke had planted for her that almost killed her. With her hormones in disorder, she had to let loose a little. You teach me how to do things? But Dr. Burke's question blocked her there. Then something even more frustrating happened. After Dr. Burke's expression eased, he talked to her about their relationship. At first she didn't react, until after an awkward silence, she realized that for the sake of his career and the position of chief of surgery, Dr. Burke took the initiative to decisively break up with her, aka she was dumped. Her calmness now was all forced, and it was broken by Adam's poke. Afternoon, observing the operating room. Adam sat in the observation seat, watching the operating room quietly. The interns around him secretly looked at him from time to time, their eyes full of gloating. Obviously, They all knew that Adam was being ridden by fear along. The envy, jealousy and hatred towards Adam finally had a good vent. Joe is really lucky. After he gets better this time, let Joe treat us to a nice drink. How about all for free? Don't even think about it. It's impossible. Is there anyone in the medical center who doesn't know Joe? He has run a bar opposite the hospital for 14 years, and everyone has a story with Joe. Dr. Natalie Bailey walked in and glanced at the person who was speaking. George saw this look and couldn't help but gossiping. Dr. Bailey, do you know Joe too? Yes. Dr. Natalie Bailey looked at Joe, who was lying in a big ward in the operating room below. I was the only female intern in our batch back then, and I didn't know anyone, and no one knew me except Joe, but he knew me. So, you and Joe? Everyone looked over, and then George asked what everyone was thinking. Dr. Natalie Bailey noticed everyone's gazes, turned around, scanned everyone, and sneered. You guys are only thinking about that, so you are poisoned. If you put your mind on work, you won't have to sit here and watch every time. No matter how well you do, you will still be squeezed down to watch here, someone muttered in a low voice. Ha ha ha. Everyone immediately looked at Adam, who was sitting there calmly, and laughed happily. Laugh. You can only laugh at this time. Dr. Natalie Bailey glanced at Adam. Whoever laughs more and laughs last is the real talent. I have a partial colon resection later, and I need the best intern. Dr. Duncan, are you interested? Of course. Adam was stunned. Very good. Dr. Natalie Bailey looked at the operating room and nodded. George looked at Adam enviously. The other interns stopped laughing. The reason why Dr. Bailey was called Natalie was on the one hand because of her strict style, and on the other hand because of her skills and prestige. Although she had ignored Adam and given priority to her interns, Adam had a good impression of her, because just as she mocked George and the others, you should work hard to improve your medical skills and don't just think about the 3 ways. She also practiced this. She took care of her interns, cared about the needs of patients, was neither humble nor arrogant to the senior doctors, and quietly improved her own skills. She neither added icing on the cake nor added insult to injury. Now she is even helping others in times of trouble, although Adam has not reached that point. To borrow the words of Xu Renju, she has a warm heart. It is most reasonable for her to have such prestige. Adam's accumulated anger because of the mess between Joe and Murphy also dissipated a little in this warmth full of humanity. Well, it's just this kind of bad thing that suddenly jumped out of the dragon riding on the face. Unless Adam hit it back hard like Stephen Chow, how could he just let it go? The idea is not clear. Operating room. Cool the body, lower the body temperature, before blood perfusion, to keep the tissue active. The temperature in the operating room was too low. Stephen Murphy trembled as he answered Dr. Burke's preoperative questions. Body temperature is 60 degrees Fahrenheit, the nurse reminded. Okay, the time of death has come. Dr. Burke stepped forward and clamped the blood vessels outside the body with a clamp. The heart has stopped beating, the nurse reminded. We only have 45 minutes. Start the timer, Dr. Shept ordered. The nurse immediately pressed the timer. Stephen Murphy then looked up at Adam in the observation seat. The two looked at each other. Adam understood his mind. This was a declaration of war. Murphy used to be arrogant and wanted to compete fairly, so whether it was 4 years of medical school or the hospital internship in the past 2 months, Adam was the leader. Now Murphy suddenly realized that his greatest asset was not his IQ and learning ability, but his identity as the only son of a pharmaceutical tycoon. In terms of IQ and learning ability, he would never be as good as Adam, and compared to others, well, the advantage is in him. P.S. Thanks to book friend 1611060524078990 for the reward. Chapter 394 I won't beat you to observe the operating room. The most advanced static surgery was going on. 8 minutes. When the timer reached 37 minutes, the nurse took the initiative to remind him. Shept, we have to restore the body temperature now. Dr. Burke reminded him while performing the surgery. Please give me the bipolar forceps. Thank you. Dr. Shept said slowly. We have to restore the body temperature now. Shept. Dr. Burke had to repeat it. Wait a minute. Dr. Shept stared at the endoscope while performing the surgery, and refused. I can't get behind the aneurysm. if I can get behind. I want to heat it up now. Dr. Burke raised his voice to express his firm attitude. Because once the time is up and the temperature is not raised in time, Joe's heartbeat will not be restored at all, even if Dr. Shep perfectly removes the aneurysm. This is the strongest voice from the cardiothoracic surgeon who controls the heart to the neurosurgeon who controls the brain. Okay. Dr. Shep was silent for 2 seconds and finally fixed the aneurysm. Are you sure? Dr. Burke looked at him. I'm always so sure, Dr. Shep said pretentiously. I've done my job. Now it's up to you, Chief. Haha. Dr. Burke knew that Dr. Shep was unhappy with his role as acting chief of surgery, but he was also acting chief of surgery. In the competition for chief of surgery with an equally matched opponent, he scored the first point, which was always so pleasant. This kind of thing is indeed more enjoyable than simply indescribable. His choice was right. Okay, everyone, we have to catch Joe before he goes to see God and start warming him up. Remove the clamp, turn on the pump, reinfuse blood into the body, observe the cerebral perfusion pressure, maintain arterial blood pressure above 60. A series of orders came from Dr. Burke's mouth. The people in the operating room began to act in an orderly manner. Adam in the observation seat watched coldly. Stephen Murphy did not make any mistakes. He was not surprised by this. In this kind of operation, interns are really just assistants. If they are more capable, they should do more. If they are less capable, they should show less. As long as there are no dramatic accidents, there will be no problem at all. If there are always dramatic scenes, the teaching hospital will not be able to operate. There have been rumors about this. Don't go to the hospital in summer and autumn. It means that every summer and autumn, medical school graduates will enter various hospitals. Once these novices perform surgery, the accident rate and mortality rate will increase greatly. Later, the rumor was dispelled, because interns who are not strong enough are just assistants and can't perform surgery at all. Only when the attending physician recognizes your skills and feels that you will not let him take responsibility, he will let go. And it's not a complete let go. There is still a limit. Stephen Murphy threw money into the operating room. Dr. Shep and Dr. Burke didn't say it, but they were disgusted in their hearts. In this place of life and death, technology is the biggest label of a doctor. Therefore, they hardly told Stephen Murphy what to do. The learning effect is better than nothing. Stephen Murphy also knew this. He didn't care about a mere few $100,000. This was just him expressing his attitude to Adam. The operation ended successfully. Stephen Murphy walked out of the operating room with a gentleman's smile on his face. As soon as he reached a corner, he took a few steps back, and his smile almost couldn't be held. Adam, you, Stephen, congratulations. Adam leaned against the wall and stretched out his hand to him. Stephen Murphy was immediately very entangled. He knew Adam's abnormal strength. The feat of easily lifting a giant tumor for 14 hours was known throughout the hospital, and now people often marveled at it. Now he just offended Adam. Adam stretched out his hand to him. He seriously suspected that Adam would hurt him. Don't be nervous. Adam changed his gesture from shaking to patting, and patted Stephen's stiff shoulder. We are classmates and colleagues. I won't hurt you. Hurt, Stephen said. Do you dare? Haha. Adam smiled. We should have a good chat. I still have to go to work now. Let's meet after get off work in the evening. Have dinner together. Don't. Stephen used to be just arrogant, not strong in character. Facing the strong Adam, he always felt guilty, stood there, and couldn't think of a reason to refuse for a while. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Fortunately, the phone rang at this time. Stephen took out his mobile phone and saw it. Overjoyed, quickly answered it, said a few words, shook the phone, and said to Adam, sorry, my parents want me to go back tonight. It doesn't matter. Adam smiled meaningfully. Didn't Mr. and Mrs. Murphy tell you that I initiated this dinner? After that, he patted Stephen's shoulder again and left with a smile. Stephen Murphy was completely stunned. What do you mean? You actually called the parents? Stephen, who was somewhat confused, returned to their clinic and immediately told his goddess Alice about this question. Alice, what does he mean by this? Alice didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and pondered. Maybe he has something to say to Mr. Murphy. Isn't this just calling the parents and telling tales? Stephen said angrily. And is he stupid? Why does he think my parents will stand on his side? Well, Alice said cautiously, maybe he thinks that he and your father are more equal in status. What? Stephen was stunned. Not in the medical field, Alice quickly explained, but in the rich world. After all, he is also the youngest self-made billionaire. He is qualified to talk directly with your father. Stephen was stunned again, muttering, even so, but why? Alice frowned. As her super spare tire, Stephen has a good family background, IQ, and ability. It's just that his temperament is a little too weak. But it's not surprising. As the only prince of Murphy Pharmaceuticals Group, he has been overprotected by his mother since he was a child. So even at this age, he often seems a little naive when facing the ways of the world. What other reasons could Adam have for talking directly to Peter Murphy? Isn't it just that he feels that your status is not equal and there is nothing to say to you? Instead of constantly arguing in the future, it is better to find the source of your confidence directly. Your dad. Once you convince your dad, what qualifications do you have to compete with him? As for how Adam convinced Peter Murphy, Alice couldn't think of it for a while. In terms of wealth, Adam's billions of assets are definitely not as good as the Murphy family's billions of wealth. In terms of status, Adam is only in the literary and art world, and his influence is too virtual, and the connections that the Murphy family's Murphy Pharmaceuticals have accumulated over the years are terrifying, which Adam can't compare to at all. P.S. Thank you book friend 16110605240789 for the reward. Some content in chapter 392 was deleted. It was not the medicine that was deceived, but the golden finger. Chapter 395, Dinner at the Murphys in New York. Murphy's mansion. The dinner party initiated by Adam completely upset Stephen Murphy's mood, so he left work early and returned home. His father Peter Murphy had not returned yet. Only his mother was at home. Stephen told her about the matter. Is that so? Mrs. Murphy smiled. You are also doing this for the patient's sake. It's just a few $100,000. As long as you are happy and can learn something, there is nothing wrong with doing this. Mom, then why do you think Adam initiated this dinner party? Stephen asked puzzled. Maybe he is showing you a favor. Mrs. Murphy said indifferently, you don't have to care what he thinks. Yeah, feeling his mother's domineering. Stephen was shocked. Yes, he doesn't care what Adam thinks. He wants him to think what he wants. The doubts were gone, and the mama's boy Stephen and his mother began to talk about some interesting things in the hospital. The mother and son were happy. The master is back. The maid received a call from the front desk of the apartment downstairs, said to Mrs. Murphy, walked to the door, and opened the door. The elevator directly to the apartment arrived. Peter Murphy, a pharmaceutical tycoon of his generation, walked in with a cold face. Dad. Stephen quickly stood up and greeted him. Mrs. Murphy stepped forward to take her husband's briefcase and helped him take off his coat. Yeah. Peter Murphy looked at his son and nodded slightly. I remember this Adam. Duncan is your classmate, right? You have always had an average relationship. Why did he invite us to dinner this time? This, facing his father's gaze, the domineering aura of President Minksu that Stephen had felt from his mother before immediately disappeared. Because his father was the real domineering president, he was not. It's like this. Mrs. Murphy took over the topic and talked about the matter lightly. Confused, Peter Murphy frowned. You are a doctor. What you need to do is to quietly improve your medical skills. Use your skills to impress senior doctors, gain recognition, and then do more operations to improve your skills to the greatest extent. This is a virtuous circle. How can you spend money to buy an operation? Dear, what's the matter? Mrs. Murphy tried to smooth things over. It's just an operation, only a few $100,000. Stephen also said that this is a cutting-edge operation, which is very valuable to learn. What do you know? Peter scolded. Is this about money? That Adam Duncan is also a billionaire, and the youngest billionaire. Have you ever seen him spend money like this? Not usually. Even when Stephen snatched his operation in public, he didn't spend money to snatch it back. That's because he knows that he doesn't have as much money as Stephen. Mrs. Murphy retorted. What money does Stephen have? Seeing his wife, who has always been virtuous and strong as a mother, Peter's eyes became sharp. Is that his own money? That's my money. No one is allowed to use it without my permission." Mrs. Murphy stopped talking immediately. Stephen even lowered his head, as quiet as a quail. Peter's eyes softened and he sighed. "Although Adam Duncan doesn't have as much money as I do, he started out as an artist and has more liquid funds on hand than I do. Moreover, as an artistic youth who made so much money from scratch at such a young age, he should be more arrogant than anyone else. When faced with such a thing, let alone you, he would not hesitate to confront me." "But have you seen him do this?" "No. Not only did he not get angry with you to compete for wealth and surgery, he also took the initiative to contact us, hoping to erase the contradiction. This is the most mature way. Stephen and he are both classmates and colleagues. Moreover, both of them have everything they need, and they don't need to go through so much effort and suffer so much to study medicine. But they both did it. Why? Because they are the same kind of people. They should be best friends, and they are also the most likely and most suitable to be best friends." I said this when Stephen was in medical school, but Stephen didn't take it to heart. "Good. If you can't be the best friend, as long as there is no conflict or confrontation, being an ordinary classmate is fine." "But what are you doing now, Stephen?" "Taking the initiative to snatch his surgery and provoke conflicts with him." "What are you doing for? Are you in need of a cutting-edge surgery? If you really want to do it, I can immediately arrange for you to go to a place where there are cutting-edge surgeries every day. Are you willing?" Stephen's head drooped even lower, and regret rose in his heart. "Peter," Mrs. Murphy called out reluctantly. Alas, seeing that his son was so weak, Peter shook his head and sighed. "Okay, I won't talk about you being good friends with him. Let's talk about the matter of paying for surgery. Even if you didn't snatch Adam Duncan's surgery, you should never do this." "Why?" Mrs. Murphy was puzzled. Stephen also looked up at his father. "Because it's really not a matter of money," Peter said in a deep voice. "Once this news is exposed, Stephen will definitely be targeted. For any operation performed by Stephen, the patient wants Stephen to reimburse the full amount. What should we do?" "Good. Even if we don't lack the money. But what's the point of being a doctor who can only perform surgery if you pay? And once we encounter someone who is not afraid of death and is specifically here to blackmail, not to mention that we may not be able to plug this black hole, the most important thing is, how can Stephen's safety be guaranteed? If I remember correctly, there was a shooting at the medical center a few days ago, right? What I want to tell you is that the medical center is already considered good. There are too many shootings in hospitals across the United States every year, exposing his identity to attract everyone's attention and being targeted by many people with ulterior motives. How dangerous will it be for Stephen?" "Ah!" Mrs. Murphy was shocked. "So scary? Otherwise, Stephen, let's not be doctors anymore. Go home and learn how to do business from your father." "Stephen, what do you think?" Peter Murphy looked at his son. "I still want to be a doctor." Stephen's face turned pale, but he insisted. Just as his father said, he has everything he needs, and the reason he worked so hard to study medicine is because he likes it. "Okay, but you have to keep a low profile. Don't spend money to snatch surgery anymore," Peter reminded. "You have to sincerely apologize to Adam Duncan later." Look, he should have considered these issues, and even the reason why he didn't directly let people promote the free medical care to Murphy thing is because he and you are similar in terms of your own wealth and career choice as doctors. Unless it is absolutely necessary, he doesn't want to do stupid things that will hurt both sides. But once you provoke him again and again, do you think he, who became famous at a young age and is young and energetic, will keep enduring it? Stephen, listen to your father. Mrs. Murphy's attitude changed drastically. "Yeah, what can Stephen say?" At night, after Adam arrived, before he could threaten him secretly, he heard Peter point out his thoughts, and couldn't help but admire Peter for being able to start from scratch. It was really not a casual success. Adam accepted Stephen's apology. It is better to resolve a feud than to create one, not to mention that the opponent's strength is far superior to his. But Adam was very curious about the reason for Stephen Murphy's sudden change. "Nothing." Stephen lowered his head and said, "It's just that your reputation in the hospital is getting bigger and bigger, and the gap between us is getting bigger and bigger. I don't want to be pulled so far by you." Haha. Adam laughed. After the dinner, back to the apartment, Adam dialed a number. Jushiran said, "If you make a mistake, you must admit it, and if you are beaten, you must stand at attention." Stephen admitted his mistake, but he has not been beaten yet. How can this be over? Chapter 396, Furious. Duncan's luxury apartment. After the call was made, a figure came over quickly. Who else could it be but Alice? The two of them immediately had a cordial and friendly conversation. When talking about something happy, Adam suddenly changed the subject. "Did you persuade Stephen to snatch my surgery?" Alice immediately shook her head like a rattle. "No, really?" Adam sneered. Alice's body stiffened, and she said faintly, "So what if it was? If not, would you still remember me? Calculate for yourself. How long have you not looked for me?" Adam was holding back a big mouthful of complaints, unable to spit them out. Damn it. So this is the truth. Even if Adam guessed that Alice was behind the scenes, he only thought that Alice wanted to play both sides and get more benefits. He never expected it. The truth was that Alice was resentful in her boudoir, and she was too proud to express it herself, so she could only use such a torturous method to express it implicitly. Haha. Seeing Adam's dumbfounded expression, Alice couldn't help laughing out loud. "Adam, you have forgotten me and haven't contacted me for more than 2 months. I will let my super spare tire to trouble you. You can't do anything to him, and you can't do anything to me. Are you very angry? Don't hold it in, come to me." She knows the thoughts of men too well. In fact, even if Adam didn't expect this, she would reveal some of it half-hidden later so that Adam can follow the clues and find the real mastermind. No, next time. Adam couldn't complain, so he had to say seriously, "Yeah." Alice was particularly well behaved at this moment. This kind of thing has the risk of completely angering Adam. If she couldn't bear it, she would not want to do it at all. She just wanted Adam not to forget her. Doing it once is enough. Now she believes that Adam will not forget her for so long in the future. "You owe me a cutting-edge operation," Adam added. "I'll pay." Alice's eyes were as charming as silk. The next day, early in the morning, medical center. Adam and Stephen Murphy's car drove into the hospital parking lot one after another. After getting out of the car, "Stephen, good morning." Adam smiled and nodded, taking the initiative to greet him. "Good morning, Adam." Stephen was stunned, and nodded in response. What surprised him was not Adam's greeting. His father's lecture last night made him realize that he had indeed done something wrong. He also apologized to Adam. He still admired Adam's demeanor. This kind of greeting was naturally nothing. What really surprised him was that Adam was so happy from the bottom of his heart, as if he didn't mind him at all. This made him feel a little strange. Went to the clinic. "Has Alice not come yet?" Stephen asked the doctor in the same group. "I haven't seen her. It seems that she has changed shifts." The answer of his colleague surprised him a little. Why didn't Alice tell him? Stephen called Alice and asked her. When he heard the subtext of "my aunt came to see her in advance," he suddenly realized and immediately entered the caring mode of asking about her well-being. When Alice said a few touching words, Stephen immediately smiled like a child. Changing room. "Adam, what's so happy about?" George asked everyone's question. "Nothing." Adam was in a good mood and joked. "Cats eat fish, dogs eat meat, Ultraman fights monsters. Do you need a reason to be happy?" "Ultraman?" George and others looked at each other in confusion. "What is that?" "A superhero in the island culture," Adam said playfully. "You should read more about it. Sometimes the island culture is really useful." After that, he turned around and left the locker room without paying attention to the confused people. Green Clinic. "Adam, how was the dinner last night?" Bianca asked with concern. She also heard about Adam's surgery being robbed yesterday, and wanted to go over to comfort him in the evening. But Adam refused on the grounds that he had to have a dinner with the Murphy family to discuss. "It's done." Adam smiled and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Murphy are very reasonable. They asked Stephen to apologize to me. Things like yesterday will never happen again." "Stephen Murphy apologized to you?" Bald Chris was surprised. "Shouldn't it be?" Bianca immediately glared at Bald Chris. "Yesterday's immobilization surgery should have been done by Adam." Should. I'm on Adam's side." Bald Chris raised his hand and said, "I'm just wondering why Stephen Murphy, the Prince of Murphy Pharmaceuticals, would bow his head and apologize. If it were me, I would definitely not do that." "If it were you, Of course he wouldn't have to apologize, Bianca said contemptuously. Murphy Pharmaceuticals is indeed powerful. But don't forget that Adam is also the youngest billionaire. Peter Murphy can't be compared with Adam at Adam's age. Huh, bald Chris slapped his head. That's right. I almost forgot that Adam is not only the best intern, but also the youngest billionaire. Okay, we are all colleagues, and we all study medicine. There is no conflict that cannot be resolved. We will live in peace in the future. Adam ended the conversation. Anyway, Steven's apology to him has been leaked, and he has both face and substance. What else do you want to do? That's right, he took the initiative to leak it. Doctors are a profession that emphasizes authority and technology, so they must maintain their reputation. If someone robs you of your operation in public in this way and you don't react at all, how will others view you? The attitude of your colleagues in the hospital towards you will affect the attitude of the patients towards you. If you were a patient, how much trust would you have in a doctor who was pointed at by doctors and nurses? Facts have proved that Adam's approach was correct. The news spread across the entire hospital in an instant. After Bianca and a group of female doctors and nurses who admired Adam, Adam's reputation was not only not shattered, but even more so. Not convinced? You also go to talk to Peter Murphy, the legendary tycoon of Murphy Pharmaceutical Group, and ask his son to apologize? You can't even see Peter Murphy. What the hell? Emergency? What's going on? Adam looked in surprise at the two boys and young men, one big and one small, wearing real CS camouflage uniforms and hanging paintball guns on their bodies. The small one supported the big one and walked in. Doctor, my chest is stuffy and painful. Ah. The older young man covered his chest and said with difficulty breathing. At the end, he screamed. Adam quickly helped him lie on his side and pointed the stethoscope at his chest. Give him oxygen. Arrange for an X-ray and cord scan immediately, Adam ordered. The nurse came forward and put an oxygen mask on the young man. Woo woo woo, it's all my fault. The little boy cried. Cousin, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have beaten you 58 times in a row. Ah, the young man screamed even louder. Adam's mouth twitched. That's right, it should be spontaneous pneumothorax. Little boy, stop talking. Adam couldn't help but say to his young cousin, who was probably just an elementary school student, the more you talk, the more your cousin hurts. Why? The little cousin's eyes were full of tears. Because your cousin is furious. Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. A college student was beaten 58 times in a row by his elementary school cousin in a game. What a feeling. I'm sorry, cousin, I didn't know you were such a bad player. I will definitely let you win next time. The little cousin was crying. Ah, the young man screamed again. Adam. Chapter 397. It's better for men to be selfish. Medical center. Emergency room. Adam took a look at his little cousin and was sure that he didn't do it on purpose. He ordered, Mary, take him to sit next to you first. Yes, doctor. Nurse Mary immediately took the little cousin away. If he didn't take him away, his cousin might really be mad at him for being so honest. When the X-ray and cord scans were done, the young man's parents also rushed over. Doctor, how is Pride? The young man's parents asked nervously. Spontaneous pneumothorax. Adam put the X-ray and cord scans on the viewing light board and pointed at the films and said, this is the lung. Next to it is a ruptured bulla, which causes the patient to have chest tightness, chest pain and difficulty breathing. What should we do now? The young man's father asked. Because the amount of gas accumulated in closed pneumothorax is greater than 20% of the chest cavity volume, it cannot be absorbed and eliminated by itself. Now we need to perform pleural puncture to drain the accumulated gas, reduce the pressure of the accumulated gas on the lungs and longitudinal membranes, and promote the lungs to expand as soon as possible and return to normal, Adam explained. Then do it quickly, the young man's mother urged. Okay. Adam nodded and began to prepare for the thoracentesis. Doctor, why is this happening? The young man's father couldn't help asking. Lung bulli are like bulges on car tires after being used for a long time. They will burst with a little force, Adam explained casually while performing the thoracentesis. The lungs are an important respiratory organ of the human body. When people are angry, excited or nervous, their mental state will become more tense. The brain will respond and ease this state, which will release a lot of adrenaline, which will further promote tension and excitement, forming a vicious cycle. Once it reaches the peak, it will cause the rupture of the bully. After the thoracentesis, the various symptoms of the patient pride were relieved immediately. Adam asked his parents to go out and let him have a good rest. Otherwise, once the whole story is told, the young man may start to fluctuate greatly again. In the corridor, I asked Pride to play with his little cousin. How did they play? Why are they so excited? The young man's mother complained. It's not excitement, Adam corrected. It's anger. Angry? The young man's parents were immediately confused. Why is it anger? Adam told the story. The young man's parents looked at each other. That's it. They heard from Adam that if the bully ruptures seriously, it will cause acute diseases such as heart disease and cerebral hemorrhage, and the risk of sudden death is very high. Just because he lost a game with his little cousin, he was so angry. They really couldn't understand. This kind of thing is rare, but it is understandable, Adam explained. The cousin took the little cousin to play, and wanted to show off. But the little cousin was so good at playing games. After the cousin lost a few games, he couldn't get down from the face. He kept pulling the little cousin to play, and he had to win a game. Unfortunately, the little cousin was really a genius in playing games, and he couldn't win the little cousin. After losing 58 games in a row, he was so angry that he exploded. There are actually many cases of trying to show off in front of elementary school students but getting slapped in the face. Elementary school students are very talented in playing games. There are often cases where adults are beaten by elementary school students. For example, in the original Time and Space, Barney and Robin played a real-life CS team. After losing, they cursed angrily, "We lost again. Damn it, these little bastards." In The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's 4-person game team, whether it is online games or offline games, will be beaten by elementary school students. So proud that even Sheldon felt that he was too old to be able to do it. The horror of elementary school students is so terrible. Doctor, will Pride relapse in the future? The young man's parents worried. Be careful in the future. Don't be too happy or sad, Adam warned. Nurse's station. Now there are really all kinds of people, Susan sighed. Just wait and see. There will be more people like this in the future. Adam smiled. Outpatient number 3. Susan put a medical record in Adam's hand. Go and take a look. It should open your eyes. Haha. Adam took the medical record and smiled. After experiencing 2 bizarre medical records of cheating on the golden finger and playing games, what else can open his eyes in a short period of time? He has already become calm and calm. Don't believe it? Do you want to bet? Susan smiled and said, $10? Sure. Adam was happy to join in the fun. Every week, the homeless man named Arthur would pass out on the road after drinking and then be sent to the hospital. The medical staff in the emergency room would look at the sleeping Arthur and make a bet on the alcohol content in his blood. An old nurse has played it so many times that she has become very good at it. Standing next to him and smelling it, she can accurately report the exact number of alcohol content in his blood, without any error. Over time, when something bizarre happens, a small bet has become a traditional entertainment in the emergency room. As soon as he entered the number 3 outpatient clinic, Adam frowned. An unusually unpleasant fishy smell came. A middle-aged man was sitting in the diagnosis room. His eyes were evasive, and his face was a little embarrassed. Adam looked at him carefully, and his eyes finally stopped at his mouth. Open your mouth, doctor. The middle-aged man hesitated to speak, but still opened his mouth obediently. Adam's mouth twitched. Adam looked away, suppressed the complaints in his heart, and asked professionally, have you reconciled yin and yang recently? The middle-aged man nodded. You know how to give? Adam said tactfully. Yeah. The middle-aged man obviously understood, and his old face blushed. Doctor, is it serious? Before coming, he also checked it online. According to the symptoms, he roughly knew what disease it was, so he understood it as soon as he was told. This is bacterial inflammation. Adam shook his head and said, metronidazole twice a day for 7 consecutive days. During this period, ensure that the tongue is clean and do not eat spicy and irritating foods. At the same time, your female companion should also take medicine and keep clean in this way. I broke up with her, the middle-aged man said a little angrily. I will never give again in the future. Men should be more selfish. Adam did not make any comments. Even if ordinary people say this kind of thing, there is always the possibility of conflict and harmony. Not to mention doctors. Doctors should maintain their professionalism and be only emotionless diagnosticians and therapists. Don't mix in any personal emotions. After the diagnosis, he left. Metronidazole is an over-the-counter drug, and middle-aged men can go to the pharmacy to buy it themselves. Adam walked to Susan. Susan had already stretched out her hand. Adam took out the change, counted out $10 and handed it to her. Accept the bet and accept the defeat. P.S. Thanks to Batman Joker, Foxy Utel, and Guy is really good for the rewards. Chapter 398 Good people don't live long. Medical center. Outside the operating room, in the corridor, when Adam came from the emergency room, he saw a classic scene. Meredith and Christina stood together, whispering to each other, their eyes occasionally glancing at one place. A little further away, Dr. Shept and Dr. Burke also stood together. An organ donor from Wicks Hospital will arrive this afternoon. We plan to remove the organs. We will use operating room 1 at 4 o'clock. I will use operating room 1 at that time. Your operation is not important. You can't cancel my operation. As the chief of surgery, I can. Temporary. Temporary is also the chief of surgery. Now I have the final say. You used the operating room I needed, and your operation time has been rescheduled. After Dr. Burke finished speaking, Dr. Shept stared at him for a while, turned around and left. This is power. I have priority in everything. Unhappy? Just bear with it. When Adam once again lamented that on the road to becoming a great doctor, he not only needs skills but also power, and heard Christina's explosive words to Meredith, WTF? Adam was dumbfounded. What are you talking about? You were so hurt by the attending doctors that you don't want to be a woman anymore? You're comparing sizes before the surgery? And, in your eyes, men are so boring? Christina, what are you thinking about? Christina rolled her eyes at Adam, who had an African-American face full of shock and question marks. We are talking about Burke and Shept. Oh, Adam suddenly realized, this metaphor is quite vivid. No man is good, Meredith complained. Right. Looking at Dr. Burke from a distance, Christina thought about how he was obsessed with her, almost putting her life in danger, and then dumped her for a promotion. How calm and rational a person used to be, but now he is disturbed by disordered hormones. Christina echoed, we don't need men at all. How much does an electric prosthesis cost? What do we need those cold-blooded men for? I support you. Adam gave them a thumbs up and said, as long as you persist, I will pay for all your electric prostheses for the rest of your life. You can buy as many as you want and I will reimburse you for the invoices. Pa. Meredith spat. You wish. Christina regained her composure from her disordered hormones and saw through Adam's plan at a glance. She sneered, thinking that if we break up with them completely, it will be more difficult to compete with you for surgery in the future, right? Meredith also reacted and rolled her eyes. Adam smiled but said nothing. Beep, beep, beep. At this time, the three people's pagers rang one after another. The three looked at each other and realized that something big had happened. Christina took a look and immediately ran to the emergency room. Meredith followed closely behind. Slow down. You just got better. Adam stood there and said leisurely, emergency room, male, 55 years old, car accident victim, coma index 3, skull fracture, multiple internal injuries, heart rescue operation started, blood circulation is not good, we deliver drugs through his nasal tube, heartbeat is basically stopped. The ambulance stopped at the door of the emergency room. Adam arrived first, and Christina and Meredith followed behind breathlessly. Dr. Natsuki Bailey was already waiting there with George and Liz. This was a car accident that called an ambulance. On the way here, the ambulance had contacted the hospital and explained the general situation. Basically, the patient had to be sent to the operating room immediately. Therefore, Susan and others from the emergency department did not need to show up, and the surgery department took over directly. Car accidents usually do not involve 1 or 2 injured people. This time, the car of a family of 3 collided with someone else. There were 4 people at once. Dr. Natsuki Bailey directly called his 4 great warriors. Adam was called by Susan. Susan knew that Adam liked to rush to the operation the most. How long has he been unconscious? Dr. Natsuki Bailey asked. We did CPR for 20 minutes, and the fire department took 20 minutes to rescue him. He is basically dead, the paramedic said. No, he is really dead only when the doctor says he is dead, Dr. Natsuki said domineeringly. She glanced at everyone and looked at Adam. Duncan, you come to rescue him? Yes. Adam immediately stepped forward to take over. In fact, this is not a good case, because if what the paramedic said is true, then this person is basically dead. The reason why Dr. Natsuki Bailey denied the paramedic was the professional ethics of doctors who never give up until the last moment to save the dying and the wounded. Not that she doubted the judgment of the paramedic. Even if the paramedic has not attended medical school, he runs ambulances every day and is experienced. Sometimes his judgment on such things is even more accurate than that of doctors. Originally, she just wanted to send someone, such as the fat man George O'Malley, to take over as a routine and train him. But when she saw Adam, she changed her mind. Try it out. If a miracle really happens, Dr. Bailey thinks it will not be her 4 great warriors who will create the miracle, but Adam. Yesterday, she said in public that Adam is the best intern? And it was a sincere statement without any impurities. I'll do it, Adam said to the paramedic who was constantly performing CPR. Okay, the paramedic made way and helped push him into the hospital, and he breathed a sigh of relief. Continuous compression is both a technical job and a physical job. It's really not easy to be an ambulance worker. Relaxed, he couldn't help but complain a few words and told the cause of the car accident. Poor guy, he was driving on the road normally, and after overtaking normally, he was chased by the car behind him. The car behind him was running wildly and trying to catch up like crazy. The funny thing is that the crazy driver behind him was not drunk driving, but driving in anger. He was driving and arguing with his wife at the time. When he saw someone overtaking, he couldn't control his temper and got angry. In the end, he simply crashed into the car and both of them had a car accident. The perpetrator was just unconscious, but the poor guy was already dead. He's not dead yet, Adam retorted while performing cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The longest record of being rescued in this state is 4 hours. If he was also thinking of trying everything possible at the beginning, after hearing the paramedic say that this was another innocent person, Adam's mood fluctuated a little. This was the 4th innocent dying person he had encountered in more than 2 months. He had no chance with the first 2. He rescued the 3rd one, but the gunshot wound was just like the artillery wound. The injury was too severe and the treatment was ineffective, so he died. This is the 4th dying person who has been sentenced to death. He decided to go all out and never give up until the last moment. Ren Shuzu said, "Good people don't live long, but evil people will last for thousands of years." This is wrong. Inject 3 milligrams of adrenaline. Intubate the trachea. Inject a dose of atropine. The nurse responded immediately. Doctor, do you want to prepare the CPR machine? The nurse reminded. But after she heard Adam's record of being revived after 4 hours of dying, she knew that Adam had to continue CPR. She was afraid that Adam could not hold on, so she wanted to use machines to replace Adam's bare hands. No need, Adam pressed while observing the monitor. At this moment, he believed more in his own skills, not the machine. And it was only a few hours. He could hold on. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399. A miracle happened half an hour later. Dr. Bailey, who had arranged other patients, walked past the ward and stopped in surprise. Huh? Why are you still trying to save him? Because he still has hope of survival, Adam pressed and replied. Another unit of epinephrine. Yes, doctor. The nurse immediately injected the dying man. How long has it been? Dr. Bailey glanced at Adam, and felt that Adam was a little emotional, so he stepped forward and asked while checking. Dr. Duncan has been rescuing for 34 minutes. The nurse checked the time and replied. How many rounds of epinephrine and atropine have been injected? Dr. Bailey asked again. This is the third round. The nurse glanced at Adam. Dr. Duncan, stop. Dr. Bailey shook his head. In the normal process, after a round of drugs are used, if there is no effect, the death should be declared immediately. Otherwise, it would be a waste of resources. He still has a chance. You said that he will not be able to survive until we say he is. Adam pressed and looked at Dr. Bailey. Do you know him? Dr. Bailey frowned. I don't know him. Adam shook his head. But I hope to save him. He knew what Dr. Bailey meant. If it was a friend or relative of a medical staff member, this waste of resources would be accepted by default. He would never be abandoned until the last moment. 3 rounds of drugs? That's for ordinary family members. If it was a friend or relative of an important person, let alone 3 rounds of drugs, 6, 10, or 20 rounds, as long as there was hope and they were unwilling to give up, they could continue to rescue him. Otherwise, where did the 4-hour rescue record that Adam had seen come from? Ordinary people don't even have the opportunity to participate in such a record. Why did Leonard pretend not to know and cooperate happily when he knew that Adam deliberately approached him? It was because none of Rachel's 3 daughters was worry-free, and none of them was willing to work in the medical industry and take over his connections. Imagine, once a similar situation happens, whether or not they are one of the hospital's own people is the difference between life and death. Leonard, who knew this well, was really worried about his 3 daughters. He is your patient. You have the final say, Dr. Duncan. Dr. Bailey glanced at Adam and walked out. She didn't stop him again. In fact, if she hadn't been involved in several more surgeries, she would have stayed with Adam and fulfilled her final duties as a doctor. She had had such moments before. She was suddenly moved and tried desperately to save a patient she didn't know. Even if others advised her to give up, she should have given up according to the procedure. But she didn't give up. She was unwilling to give up no matter what. As time went by, she was used to seeing life and death, and this kind of touch became weaker and weaker, almost disappearing. Now seeing this familiar scene on Adam, she was still touched. The last call of Adam, Dr. Duncan, represented her true recognition of Adam. 1 hour later, are you still rescuing him? Still rescuing him? It has been 98 minutes of continuous rescue. Dr. Duncan never stopped. You should have announced his death long ago. Isn't this a waste of resources? Yes, he doesn't really think he is the eldest son of God and the savior of the world, right? Is he showing his endurance? The news that Adam was still being rescued spread throughout the hospital, and most people were whispering, my husband Bob is a good driver. A pickup truck cutting our way. He saw something on the road and tried to avoid it. The accident happened suddenly. We had a perfect morning, but the next moment, the wife of the perpetrator was lying on the hospital bed, and she kept telling her story while being examined by Christina. Christina ignored her. How is my husband Bob? The wife of the perpetrator asked for the nth time. He is in surgery, Christina said expressionlessly. Do you have any opinions about me? The wife of the perpetrator asked. No. I just hope you don't tell too many stories and have a good rest. I'm not a policeman, Christina said. What do you mean? I'm telling the truth, and you don't believe me? The wife of the perpetrator raised her voice. It is the duty of the police to find out the truth. We are just doctors, Christina said expressionlessly. But yes, I don't believe it, because what your son said next door is completely different from what you said. What did Scotty say? The wife of the perpetrator said nervously. He said you had a quarrel at breakfast, and your husband was in a bad mood. After getting on the highway, he ran 3 red lights in a row. Your husband was overtaken and couldn't control his temper and started chasing. It wasn't that he saw something and kept trying to avoid it, but he wanted to hit the car in front of him, and kept being avoided. When he finally caught up, he screamed and hit it directly. Christina sneered. Now the person who was hit can basically be declared dead. And the injuries on your back, clavicle, humerus, 3rd and 4th ribs, all have multiple healed fractures. There is also a large yellow bruise on the kidney, and the hematoma around the kidney. It can't be the injury you said just now, nor can it be the internal bleeding you said you fell last week. All kinds of evidence are very clear. The truth is there. And it can't be ended by you making up a story. Your son said that your husband deserved it. He abused you, didn't he? No, the wife of the perpetrator screamed in despair. It's not like that. He has been abusing you, and today he killed someone and almost killed you and your son. Why are you still speaking for him? Christina asked in confusion. Doctor, have you ever been in love? The wife of the perpetrator asked instead of answering. Christina was stunned. Seeing this, the wife of the perpetrator seemed to be excited and tilted her head. Have you ever been in love? She had an expression that said, as long as you have been in love, you won't ask this question. There must be something hateful about pitiful people. Christina sighed in her heart and said expressionlessly, love has its limits. The wife of the perpetrator stopped talking immediately. Obviously, she loved her tyrannical husband, but she didn't love him to the point of having no bottom line. Ward. Adam's rescue was still going on. Christina, Meredith, George, and Liz came over at the same time after finishing their work. I've never seen him like this before, Liz sighed. This is his moment, Meredith murmured. He wants to create a miracle, Christina said coldly, but miracles are miracles because they shouldn't happen. I hope Adam can create a miracle, George said. One day, we will need a miracle. There's a heartbeat. The nurse looked at the numbers on the monitor that kept jumping up from 0 and screamed in surprise. Wow! The crowd that had been watching was in an uproar. A miracle really happened. P.S. Thanks to Roger Rothas, read only fantasy. Book friend 1611060524078990. And Kang's moment for the rewards. Chapter 400. What a shout. Medical center. A miracle happened. Incredible. He really was saved. It's too early to say this now. He was in a coma for such a long time. Even if he was saved, he would either be brain dead or a vegetative state. So much energy and resources were spent, and this is the result. It's better to let him go. That's the majority of cases, but there is also a certain chance that he will wake up and return to normal. After all, what happened to him is a miracle, and how do you know he doesn't want to live? Yes, the greatest instinct of human beings is the instinct to survive. If you really encounter such a situation, you will have a different idea, and you hope that you will meet a doctor like Dr. Duncan. The onlookers began to discuss, although some people had doubts, but most people gave a positive view of Adam's rescue. After his appearance, wealth, endurance, strength, romanticism, and medical skills, Adam's medical ethics were recognized by everyone. As someone pointed out, no matter what they say, everyone has a scale in their hearts. Once they encounter a similar situation, Adam Duncan is the doctor they all hope to meet. Call Dr. Shept. Adam took the stethoscope and listened to the patient's heart, and he breathed a sigh of relief. He really did it. But it was not the time to celebrate. The patient's heart started beating again, and now the trouble came to his brain. After such a long period of coma and near death, whether the patient's brain function was normal became the biggest problem. In this regard, Dr. Shept, a famous neurosurgeon, was the authority of the hospital. Such a sensational scene here naturally spread quickly. Dr. Shept, who received the page, came quickly. After a check, it seems that the situation is optimistic now. Dr. Shept smiled and said, but we still need to do transcranial Doppler, evoked potential examination, court and MRI. If there are no problems, then wait patiently for him to wake up. I know. Adam nodded in response. Well done, Dr. Duncan. Dr. Shept patted Adam's arm, and then started clapping. Clap, clap, clap. The nurses who had been following the rescue were very excited and clapped hard. They couldn't control their tears at all, and a smile of great joy appeared on their faces. She deserves a Medal of Honor. Clap, clap, clap. Outside the ward, the doctors, nurses, and patients who were watching the excitement all started to applaud. Adam began to perform various brain function tests on the unconscious patient. The operators who usually gave him a back door and cut in line for expedited treatment had already heard the news, and their movements were even faster than usual. At noon, Adam got all the test results and couldn't help laughing. Dr. Duncan, is it good news? The nurse asked. Yes, it's good news. Adam nodded and smiled. If there is no accident, as long as he wakes up, everything will return to normal. Great, the nurse said happily. This is really a miracle. Yes. Adam smiled and said, I'll leave him to you first. Pay more attention to him. Don't worry, the nurse assured. I won't leave him for a moment. Once he wakes up, I'll call you immediately. Okay, thank you. Adam thanked her and left. Cafeteria. Isn't this our miracle doctor? Adam, you are amazing. You are amazing. Liz, Meredith and the others all praised him. Bianca's eyes were full of love, and there was a firmness in her eyes that said, you are not allowed to refuse me tonight. Fortunately, Alice didn't use the revenge plan today, otherwise it would be a real battle tonight. Luck, Adam said reservedly. Luck? Some people say so, but if it were them, would they continue to rescue a person who could have been declared dead for more than an hour? Without such a long rescue under such great pressure, would a miracle really happen? Bianca retorted. Yes, Adam's efforts and persistence are the fundamental reasons for the miracle. Everyone echoed again. How is he? Is his brain function okay? Christina said calmly. All the tests are going in the right direction. Adam smiled and said, I think he will wake up and get better. Everyone sighed. What are you doing? Adam suddenly leaned back. What? Everyone was stunned. Someone created a miracle, Adam said seriously. Shouldn't someone get more praise? Everyone, faced with Adam's naked request of I'm reserved, but you have to praise me, don't stop. Everyone was a little amused. Bianca didn't have their concerns. After a moment of daze, she reacted, laughed, and began to flatter Adam. Liz and Meredith were beside them. Although they were not as exaggerated and strong as Bianca, they also agreed from time to time. Christina almost rolled her eyes when she heard it. It took a while for her to calm down. It's all the fault of that angry driver, George said. He is an alcoholic. He drank so much that his liver became cirrhotic. He is on the waiting list for a transplant, but there is no liver for him to transplant. Now his son may have to cut off half of his liver for him. Maybe, Liz continued, hasn't Scotty made up his mind yet? The liver can recover automatically. Even if half of it is removed, it will basically return to normal in 2 months. Is there any need to think about it? He is his father. You can't say that, Adam retorted. It is entirely voluntary to donate. The liver can indeed recover, but the operation process itself has risks, and even if it recovers, will it be exactly the same as before? The physical fitness will be greatly reduced. If it is an ordinary family with a loving father and son, this is indeed not a consideration. But his father is like this. Isn't it normal for him to be entangled and hesitant? He said that his father deserved it. Christina said faintly. Liz, are you in charge of his father's operation? Adam asked. Yes. What's wrong? Liz was stunned for a moment, then laughed and said, you don't think that's why I said that, do you? What do you think? Adam looked at her deeply. You only mentioned the benefits of surgery, and didn't say anything about the disadvantages. You're just like those salesmen. How dare you say that there is no effect at all? I didn't, Liz shouted. But after everyone looked at her, she couldn't say the denial again. Beep, beep. Is it him? Everyone looked at Adam's waist. Adam took out his pager and looked at it. He was delighted and immediately stood up and ran towards the ward. Christina and others did the same. The next moment was to witness the miracle. How could they miss it? Ward, Dr. Duncan, the patient is starting to respond, the nurse said in surprise. Yeah. Adam walked to the bed, checked it, and called softly, Mr. Dean, Mr. Dean, S. The patient Mr. Dean's eyelids twitched, his mouth slightly opened, and he spoke vaguely. What do you want to say? Adam leaned over to listen. Liz and the others held their breath nervously. Son of, the patient Mr. Dean said with difficulty. He's thinking about his son. Meredith thought she understood, but then she was slapped in the face. Son of, everyone's faces became strange. Son of, finally, Mr. Dean opened his eyes and cursed weakly but hatefully. Son of the bitch. This should be his last consciousness before he fell into a coma in the car accident. P.S. Thank you for the reward from the persimmon in the vegetable garden. It's not intentional to break the chapter, but I don't have any drafts in hand. I only had time to write there. Please forgive me. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.